Okay, we're about 10 minutes late. My apologies for that. We got a lot to talk about tonight, and basically, this is the Ashley show because with my schedule the way it has been, I haven't had the time to actually watch as much as I would like to or normally would. So, my apologies for that. So, if you're an Ashley fan, tonight's the show for you.
Oh fuck! I'm tuning out already.
So, basically, welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast. My name is Sir Owen, and like I said previously, joining me is Ashley. And
Yeah.
Travis and Will probably be joining us sometime next week, most likely. But this is just us tonight. So, no Scott, no Travis, no Will. It's just me and Ashley. It's basically just Ashley. To talk all about the world of professional wrestling. Right now, we got TNA, we've got Smackdown Live, we have UFC, Lucha Underground, What Culture Pro Wrestling, news and rumors from the world of wrestling, including the Indies and Japan, Ring of Honor, and NXT, and so much more tonight on the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast. Ashley, I know it's your favorite time of the day. Let's talk about TNA.
Ooh. Right. So, we recap all the shenanigans that happened over the last few weeks with the DCCCCCCCC because they're Mexican.
Oh, they have a name. DCC actually has a name.
Do they?
Yeah, it's the Death Count Council.
I don't fucking care. They're the DCC.
Never revealed to us as a live audience, so oh well.
Because it just reminds me about my hatred for the DCCCCCCCEU.
Right.
Check out the Elite Force podcast over at snsradionetwork.com for an explanation on that. Because I don't want to rant too much on this show.
Fair point.
So, we're now cutting to sort of live, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Cutting to present, even though it's recorded. And Eddie comes out and says, he knew that winning the title would put a target on his back.
Right.
He's gone through a lot. And he wants a fight. And Anonymous shows up on screen and says, it's not about titles. We're bringing order from chaos. Nothing can stop us. So they accept Eddie's challenge for a fight. And they come out to country music. Yeah! This anonymous group, it's like ding 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 ding. What? And it's not like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like creepy stuff. It's just like they're coming out to like Long Necks and Rednecks or hardcore country. It's like this isn't a very sinister country sounding song.
Right.
This just sounds like every country song. Oh shit! I've got to divorce my wife because she's the fucking slut. If somebody makes that into a country song, God bless you. So they go to surround the ring, basically try and murder Eddie pretty much. But then Brother Nero runs out. And then we're backstage. Eddie and Nero talking to Aiden O'Shea. And Eddie's demanding a match with them, saying that he needs it. And Aiden's like, look, I'll fix everything. Come on, I'll let you see the boss. And then, obviously, you never see Billy Corgan. I wonder fucking why. Why the fuck are we still using this as an angle?
It's a good point.
Bruce Springsteen as the boss would be a more believable storyline right now. Jeez. I was so angry I ate a potato wedge. So then we got a first match, Jesse Goddard versus Aaron Rex. This is a non-title match. So it's a standard match. There's no, like, 10 points to Gryffindor.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's not a bad match, in all honesty.
No, I doubt it would be.
With Jesse Goddard getting the win with the Adonis lock. And Aaron Rex tapping. And almost crying. So yeah, in this one, it's like he's face and he can't live up to the fact that he lost. You know, he still does heel things, but the reaction at the end, it's as if, you know, he's face and he's lost to the heel. And that's why he's crying. Yeah, last week he was heel. Next week, from what I remember from the notes, he was heel. So, you know, continuity. At the fucking window, man.
Fair point.
So then we've got Sienna and fucking Laurel and Hardy. Because that's what her name should be, not Laurel Van Ness. I don't get that. Van Ness. Was it too easy to just say Laurel Vanessa?
I don't really know.
And Laurel's laughing. And Sienna's like, what's so funny? And Chelsea's like, ow. Braxton sent me the cutest text message ever. Like, gee, you guys. It's like fucking hell. Somebody watched too much Pitch Perfect. Pitch Perfect 3 in cinemas. Who gives a fuck? And Ali's there, you know, asking if Braxton's texting her. And Laurel basically goes, oh, he does more than just text me. Yeah. He takes a shotgun, puts it to your temple, and goes, get out of my fucking house. And then Maria's saying, you know, some people don't know their place. You know, like Brandy Rhodes, she's all alone. And I'm like, hang on. You're saying Brandy Rhodes, who is of an ethnic origin, doesn't know her place? Maria, do you want to build a wall? I don't know. Do you want to go to a meeting where they're doing Nazi salutes? I don't know. Timing and continuity. You know TNA would have tried to do it in some sort of different fashion. One, if they weren't as pre-recorded as they fucking are. And two, if they had a crystal ball. And basically it's like, you know, nobody's going to help her. And Ali sort of says eventually that, oh, I'd never go against Maria. Whatever. So then we had the recap of Gail getting murdered by Rosemary, who also in turn murdered Jade. And Gail comes out and says, yeah, if I can't give 110%, I'll do the right thing and step aside. And during the match against Maria, she got injured, so she's going to be vacating the title. And she thought she could fight through the injury, but because of what happened with Rosemary, the doctors can't clear her. So in 2 weeks, we will have a new Knockouts champion that nobody will give a fuck about, because that'll be the last month of it airing on Challenge, the only market that sort of may slightly give a damn about this company anymore. Then we got Eddie and Brother Nero coming out of Corgan's office. And Aiden's like, so what did the boss say? It's like, why didn't the fuck you go in? You're supposed to be his buddy. So it's later on tonight. It's going to be a 3-on-2 handicap match, I guess. So then we've got the heel women of Laurel and Sienna and Maria and Ali in the ring. And they, bully Ali and everything. Then Brandy comes out and says, who's going to be my tag partner for tonight? And obviously the implication is it's going to be Ali, but instead, Brandy's like, I like her, but it ain't her. And then out comes Madison Rae. They have I have to say it's not too bad a match because Brandy's okay. Madison's obviously good and Sienna's good. Laurel, I mean, she isn't on the level of what's her name from Florida? Raquel.
Oh,
she isn't on Raquel level of bad. She
No.
isn't on Raquel level of bad, but you can tell she's tough enough because she's not tough enough.
Ouch.
Brandy gets the win for her team with a reverse STO, which apparently they're calling the shot of Brandy. Why don't they just call it a Brandy snap? Sorry, I'm giving TNA ideas that they're not going to listen to.
Well, I didn't see the match. They're also saying that it's a flatliner. This is one of the tapings I miss.
Either way, it's being called the shot of Brandy.
Could be worse. I'd come up with something better, but I mean, it's not bad.
So we're now back in Hardy country. Matt Hardy's sitting at a computer with a lollipop, repeatedly saying delete because he's deleting emails.
That's great.
Rebby comes in with Maxwell and says, why are you eating candy? And Matt's going like, oh, I've had a bit of a sweet tooth recently, and there was so much candy left over from the trick-or-treaters. And Rebby's like, maybe you shouldn't have given the kids green beans so there'd be less candy. And Matt's like, it's absurd that anybody would give trick-or-treaters green beans. And like when he hears this, it's like, who the fuck would do that shit? And tells Maxwell it must be an exaggeration. And Rebby says, while you're sitting here deleting emails and eating candy, your brother's off fighting. And Matt's like, oh, I hope he doesn't get injured. But considering he was acting like a savage and a barbarian, maybe it'll be a good lesson for him. That violence does not solve problems. Communication does. Plus, I miss the ice cream social.
Priorities. Priorities, Ashley. Priorities.
I spent days making the custards, and it's rude of Brother Nero to miss it. So Rebby just storms off. And Matt goes back to deleting emails and then comes across a Young Bucks newsletter. And that legit shows up.
Of course
Young Bucks is written there. And of course, Matt's like, I don't like rap music. Unsubscribe.
Why couldn't I have seen this? Oh, yeah, that's right. I know why I didn't see
Well, this
this.
is all the pre-recorded shit. That's the actually good shit.
I know.
Except, of course, when he says unsubscribe, his scribe appears again.
Oh, that's great.
But then Rebby shows up and says, "Who are you talking to?" You know, because the scribe isn't there. It's a ghostly apparition. It's fucking Winter in the mirror again. Oh no! And Rebby says she's found some videos that she wants Matt to watch. Although Rebby at this point, you know, it was like, shit, a nip slip's about to happen. I mean, that tight was tight. That top was tight, if I could say it properly. So next, it's your number one contenders match for Eddie Edwards' world title. Bennett versus Lashley versus Trevor Lee versus EC3. Pretty nicely done stuff between the four of them. You know, it's a decent four-way. Which is interesting because your new number one contender is EC3 after making Trevor Lee tap out to a rear naked choke. EC3 is Samoa Joe.
Oh, they started that early then because they were doing that on the tapings I was at as well.
And the great thing is, after he's won, he just fucking disappears. So it's sort of like, what mentality is EC3? Has he turned heel? Considering Eddie Edwards, I don't know. Oh shit! Interesting stuff because we're back in Hardy to country. And Rebby's got all the videos. You know, the final deletion, the aftermath with Matt driving his riding mower through Brother Nero's lawn art, the Hardy symbol on fire, Maxwell's first birthday. And Matt's just like, this footage is disgusting. Why would I do such things? I don't want to watch this anymore. I've seen enough. And Matt leaves the room and then just... And so it's like, oh, is it coming back? The premonition? And then he just sneezes. And it's like, oh, it's a change of seasons. I must be getting one of those colds. Wow. So then Eli Drake's apparently fuming in this fact of life because he's annoyed that EC3's got another title opportunity and wants EC3 to come out and does so. And Carter just kicks the chair off the stage like, oh shit. And Eli's like, well, come on. I want to extend the olive branch. I want to save you the embarrassment. Next week, me versus you. And EC3's like, sure. If you think you're up for it, I'll put the title shot on the line. Oh, no, sorry. You know, EC3 put the title shot on the line a few weeks back. So it's like, do the same. And EC3's like, nope. And it eventually evolves into, because he's so desperate, Eli, that he's willing to put his voice on the line. So if EC3 wins, Eli Drake doesn't get to talk for the rest of 2016.
Oh yeah, I was there for that show.
And Eli's like, well, I'm winning, so yeah, you got a deal. It's easy. And I'm like, I wonder why they came up with that idea, considering there's only a month left. So Jade's doing a commercial for Impact. When the fuck is that gonna air? And Abyss and Crazy Steve show up and says, what Rosemary did wasn't personal. It's just what's going to happen to all the knockouts. Okay. And then we've got Jade walking around backstage whispering Rosemary because I guess Jade's basically told to go look for her. Whatever. So now we've got Baraka for Mortal Kombat versus fucking Shira Sheikh. And amazingly, Shira wins with a camel clutch. This was nothing special because, Baraka wasn't that good in bloody WWE. And, Shira would even be bloody pissed on by James Ellsworth. So, whatever. Anyway, Baron Dax, afterwards, it's a 2-on-1 attack and whatever. Except Al Snow comes out and makes a save. And then Al Snow and Shira do the Mega Power style handshake. Because that's a thing.
Oh, wow.
And then Jade's found Rosemary. And Rosemary mocks her for being Gail's chosen one. And Jade's like, I don't care. It's going to be the two of us competing for the Knockouts title. And Rosemary's like, if you didn't get enough of violence last week, I bet you'll lust for more. Because I suggest we fight in a steel cage. And Jade's like, I'm not afraid of violence. I would make that joke about that whole domestic abuse stuff, but this is TNA. That's already happened between Dixie Carter and Billy Corgan. Oh.
I wish I could have
the
been
Thanksgiving
there for that.
special. The Thanksgiving special that nobody's going to watch because football and also Black Friday fights. Not boxing, I just mean actual fights in the street. There'll be an extra division elimination match and the Eli Drake EC3 thing. So they're actively trying to make you watch a product that you're not going to watch because it's Thanksgiving Day. Also, Mystery Science Theater 3000 Turkey Day marathons online. Fucking watch that instead. Seriously. Just wait for me to recap it next week. So then we get the 3-on-2 no holds barred handicap match. DCC versus Nero and Edwards, which is some nice in there. But then, of course, DCC pretty much get the win. It did come close because Storm got hit with a Twist of Fate, but didn't fall, staggered into the ropes. Then got another twist, but Hardy went for another twist, but Storm reversed it into a last call super kick. And Storm gets the pinfall. And not a single fuck was given. I'm more looking forward to Matt in bloody WCPW next week than I am about anything on TNA, bar the Matt Hardy storyline that's going on. That is the only thing of exceptional worth. The matches may be good and everything, but the only thing that I'm invested in is what the shit is going on with this angle. Because it's the angle that at first I was like, what the fuck is going on? And now I'm like, I need to know what the fuck is going on. Everything else, real life events have put it all out of joint.
Right.
And the question, of course, is when and if and whatever are they going to have episodes again?
I would say after the first of the year.
They've taped the Christmas total non-stop deletion stuff.
Mm.
But other than that, I have no clue what's going to be going on. First week in January. Especially when you take into account, when were they supposed to be doing the first set of tapings?
November? First week of November?
No, but like for next year,
We don't have a date announced yet. I know it's the beginning of January.
Because that's the thing. Because if they're doing it beginning of January, they're not going to have much time to edit it.
No. I mean, as long as I'm able to, I'll probably go. As long as it's on a day that I don't have to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a really good time at the TNA tapings last time, and I had a good time at Bound for Glory. They put on entertaining shows live. It's just they don't necessarily come off looking good on television.
Oh, of course. It's never going to look good on television.
There's always that.
But there you go. That's what you
Right.
get before you gobble your turkey.
Well, I guess we move from Impact to Smackdown.
The Downs of Smack.
Yes.
See, this is how you do an interesting 2-hour show, despite having shit matches.
Do tell me more.
So Shane says he feels like they open up with the fact that Team SmackDown won the main event of the SmackDown versus Raw matches. And Shane's in the ring and says he feels like he's been in a car accident. Oh, so after fucking Survivor Series, he feels like he's in a car accident. But WrestleMania, nah, that was okay. And Ambrose is like, why should you be upset? We won. And Shane's like, well, you teamed up to put AJ through the announce table. And Ambrose is like, well, come on. Why don't we celebrate the true MVP? James Ellsworth, who's got a neck brace on and everything. And Ambrose is like, are you going to tell him? And it's supposed to be, I want to do this in private, Dean. Like, man, James, Shane wants to sign you to SmackDown. And then Shane's like, yeah, by the way, Dean, you got the night off. And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with that. I want to celebrate. And Shane says, like, no, you got to leave. So he does go. And then Star Wars comes out and says, why the hell is he getting a contract? Ambrose shouldn't even be on the roster and get a title shot against me. James doesn't deserve anything. He hasn't earned his contract, unlike the contract I have. And AJ's like, why doesn't he face me in a ladder match as a warm-up for my TLC match in a few weeks? And Shane's like, no, we're not doing that. And then Ellsworth goes, nah, I agree. Because I already beat you twice. And if I beat you again, I want a WWE World Title shot. It's all or nothing. And Styles is like, huh, it's the biggest mistake you ever made. You're on. And then Ambrose comes back out. And Shane's just like, fuck it. So then we've got Miz and Maurice doing a photo shoot. And Daniel Bryan comes in. And Miz is like, "Are you going to congratulate me on keeping the belt on SmackDown?" And Bryan's like, "No, you're defending the belt against Kalisto next." Like, da da da. And what happens from here is somewhat of a decent match. But there's a Baron Corbin run-in distraction. Kalisto takes out Corbin, but then Miz takes out Kalisto with a skull-crushing finale once he's got back in the ring. Miz retains. And then Kalisto gets ended by Corbin. And Miz is celebrating on the ramp saying, yes! And then Dolph super kicks stage. D. Bryan and Shane are like, what the hell's just happened? And Bryan heads out to deal with Ziggler. And then Alexa and Becky come in and argue. And Becky's like, you'll get your rematch at TLC, and don't worry. And Natalia comes in and says, the SmackDown women lost because of Becky Lynch because she's threatened by Alexa. And Shane says, no, you're all to blame. And Natalia says, puts Natalia and Becky in a match. And then Natalia recites lyrics from Titanic's My Heart Will Go On song. Bliss storms off, mainly because, wait, is Natalia being fucking racist? Considering how the Titanic was built in Ireland? And then Ambrose comes in with pizza.
What?
And Shane's like, leave. Then Daniel Bryan isn't happy with Corbin backstage, so Corbin's taking on Kane later. Then we've got tag team turmoil to determine the number one contenders to Messrs. Rhino and Slater. So we start off with the Hype Bros and Ascension. With the Hype Bros eliminating them with the Hype Rider on Victor. Let's be honest. That's fair.
Okay.
Next out, a Breezango. And I'm afraid I got some bad news, Owen.
Yeah.
Breezango eliminated the Hype Bros.
Yeah. That's right.
Except that an American Alpha came out, so yeah, bye Breezango. And then the Vaudevillains came out, and everyone went, who? And that was over very quickly. In no time at all, Vaudevillains, they didn't even get to drink the bloody cup of Starbucks, let alone a cup of coffee. So then we get to the Usos. And this actually goes on for a little bit longer than some of the rest of it. But Grand Amplitude is enough to give American Alpha the win. Only tap! And Bray Wyatt's on the screen or whatever and says, you haven't faced all the teams. And Randy's like, you still got to face a family. And Bray's like, next week, me and Randy face you, Alpha. Run. And then we got to D. Bryan talking to James backstage about his ladder match. And then Dean Ambrose comes in wearing a Mountie outfit.
I saw this. Oh my God, I saw this.
And Shane's just like, get the fuck out. And Bryan's just like, come on. You went through a lot on Sunday. You should get some rest. And Shane's like, okay, before I do something that I regret. And then Ambrose is like, oh, Daniel, make sure you pass the word on to AJ. The Mountie always gets his man. It's like, yes!
Bryan looked like he was about to crack up when that happened.
Yep.
He put his head in his hands, and he was about ready to lose it before the camera cut away.
Daniel Bryan corpsing.
Oh, God.
Send for the Mountie.
Send for the Mountie. Exactly.
Then we get Becky Lynch versus Natalya. Pretty good match, as you'd expect from, two girls with a heck of a lot of expertise under their belts.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that right, Alexa? Becky getting the win with a disarmer. Bliss, of course, attacks her afterwards and lays her out with Sealed with a Bliss. Because I'm not calling it Seal Hit with a Bliss. Sealed with a Bliss. Get some Brian Hyland on the fucking radio. That was the only good bit about All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. The trailer which just used that song.
Ugh.
Then the Hype Bros are chilling Black Friday shit. Not as good as Enzo and Cass did the night before, I will say. And then Miz and Maurice show up complaining about what Ziggler did. And so Daniel's like, okay, it'll be you versus Ziggler for the title in a ladder match. And whatever happens, be the last time you face each other. Until next year. And Miz is like, oh, I'll write the final chapter in the rivalry with a skull-crushing finale. And then Nikki Bella interrupts Carmella on the phone. Apparently everybody's on the fucking phone getting interrupted. I need a fucking phone. Where's my phone? Where's my fucking phone, Jeff? Is it made of gold?
Yes.
And Carmella's blame, but Nikki is adamant that Carmella took her out. And Carmella's like, nope. And Nikki says, I talked to Daniel. So at TLC, it's going to be a no DQ match. And I did exactly the same as Carmella when I heard this. Stormed off. Jesus. That's what needs to be said. Then speaking of that, Kane versus Baron Corbin. Which basically just comes in with a, I'm going to run around so you can't catch me, Kane. So then Kalisto shows up and smacks him with a springboard dropkick. So DQ. And then Kalisto grabs a chair and goes after Corbin.
I wonder why.
And Kalisto throws the chair at Corbin, but manages to kick it right back into Kalisto's face. It's like, if that was intended, that's good fucking timing, son. Good fucking timing. Man. So main event time. AJ versus Ellsworth. Korea versus Streak. I don't know. Career versus reverse streak.
Well, if he wins, he gets a contract. That's what it is.
Yeah, but he also gets a title shot because of the 3-0. Spoilers, 3-0. Although I will say the shenanigans that did happen were actually pretty good. This time, Dean Ambrose had an Ottawa Senators jersey on. Go Sport! And Ambrose, gets AJ out and goes to James. Climb the ladder, man. Climb the ladder. So, but then AJ hits the phenomenal forearm on Dean. And Styles climbs the ladder, but Ellsworth, who didn't go up the ladder, tips the ladder over, so Styles falls all the way to the outside. Not as bad as it was with... It was a controlled landing, though. Not as bad as it fucking was with bloody Braun Death Warrant. Braun Death Wish. It's fucking Charles Bronson. Oh, Michael Winner. Delete is applicable. So then Styles goes to get back in the ring, but James hits him with the super kick. Because fuck no chin music. I have respect for this job.
I have
He's more
respect for
fucking
this
over
jobber.
than Braun Strowman.
It's not saying much, Ashley.
No, but the whole gimmick was we've got to get Braun Strowman over.
Yeah, I know.
And James Ellsworth's more of a character. And he's more talented. He doesn't botch fucking moves and kill people. Okay, he botch moves and kills himself nearly, like that Styles clash. But more of a hit rate for James than it is for Barrett. Either way, the super kick is enough for Styles to get caught in the ropes, meaning Ellsworth climbs and it jumps up to pull down the contract. It's just like, you actually don't see that very often.
Right.
That's true CZW stuff right there. It's like, fuck it, I'm not climbing and like doing a pose. I'm gonna jump and just yank it off the string or whatever. So Ellsworth is now officially on Smackdown Live, which means he might actually be... To be honest, I prefer to see him as Cruiserweight champion right now than Brian Kendrick.
Fair point.
I mean, there's a lot more other people in the 205 division that I prefer to see over Kendrick, but that's all I can think of. Because I just think this is fucking incredible for him. He was there as just a jobber. What, 3-4 months ago?
Yeah.
I guess it would have been 3 because it would have been in the build up to the draft and everything, wouldn't it? And somehow he resonated so much, probably because of his appearance and whatever, that people stuck with him. And now he's got some sort of deal with WWE. He's on the same level as Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. Except he isn't getting paid as much, and 2, he's showing up more often than those fuckers.
Right.
I can't even remember what the CZW name was.
Who?
Ellsworth.
Uh,
Because there was a bit that CZW's YouTube page put up a few weeks back, where it was him teaming up with John Moxley, aka Ambrose.
It looks like Jimmy
From one of
Dream.
the Cage of... Yeah, that's it.
I did some
From one
homework.
of the Cages of Death, or no, it was Tournament of Death, I think.
Yes,
From
that's
back
the
in the
picture I
day.
was seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's... Plus, it's that somebody that's actually got a wrestling background, not just a tough enough wannabe. Big Andy. Whatever the fuck happened to Big Andy?
Do you really want to know the answer to that question?
You know me in rhetorical questions.
Yeah, indeed.
You know me in rhetorical questions. I like putting them out there.
Of course.
So yeah, you go. Overall, you know, there's a lot. You know, for a 2-hour show, okay, some of the matches weren't great, but there's a lot more investment.
Right.
You know, I'm intrigued about the whole Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch thing as to whether they'll pull the trigger. Miz and Ziggler are going to have a fucking incredible ladder match, and I hope it rounds off this feud perfectly. The AJ Ellsworth Ambrose stuff has been good. Fuck Corbin. Mild on Callisto. Fuck Nikki Bella and Carmella. And I can't remember any other angle if it happened on the show. So there you go.
So are you turning on this company as well? This product?
No, I'm just turning on the people that deserve to be turned on.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Smackdown in its 2-hour form is a much more entertaining prospect than the 3 hours of Raw.
Right, but for some
Although
reason,
this is probably the one of the last weeks that I'll be able to say that, because next week is 205, perhaps live. I don't even know what they're doing with that.
yeah.
I don't know whether there's any actual news regarding all that stuff.
I'm unaware of there being any.
No, just the fact that TLC's obviously got the ladder match. And I think it was set up on Talking Smack, I think, that unsurprisingly, Baron Corbin's taking on Callisto in a chairs match. Still doing that fucking gimmick. And obviously you got the no DQ match, but I'm now wondering, does that mean Slater and Rhino versus whoever wins next week is going to be a tables match?
It's a good possibility.
Because that's the only one that we're missing. And I don't think we're doing... Well, I mean, if we did Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss, it'd be an interesting tables match. But considering we've already got a no DQ match, that might make people think it's a bit too similar. So
Right.
it might be worth doing the women's title match standard and then putting a stip on one of the other matches.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. We've only got about a week away until TLC anyway.
Yeah, next week's not Cyber Tuesday. It's the last one before TLC and Stairs.
I mean,
Formerly and Stairs.
I know we're covering Roadblock, but I mean, I still haven't decided if we're covering TLC or not. We might just cover it on Monday, like we did last time.
I'm sort of thinking, because it's Miz and Ziggler in a ladder match, and because it's AJ and Dean in a TLC match, That to me is much more interesting than Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. If anything, this month I'd want it to be the other way round. It's like that. That to me is so much more interesting.
I'm just,
I'm more invested in, especially if it's Wyatt versus Slater and Rhino. I'm intrigued to see what happens with that storyline as well.
right.
There's more matches I can think of possibly happening, because at Roadblock we know what's going to happen. New Day are dropping the belts. Kevin's going to retain. Something else is going to happen. We don't even know what's going to happen with the women's title because that's next week. So that's all up in the air for Roadblock. The best bit about Roadblock, to be quite honest, is the poster with fucking Kevin Owens with the stop sign in his hand. That's the best bit. Also, when is the Talk is Jericho with Kevin Owens podcast being put on?
I'm not exactly sure, but it's probably something that's on the horizon.
I want to see it now. Also, apparently Kevin Owens took a shot at David Otunga on Twitter.
I heard about that, but I didn't look deeper into it. What did he say?
Yes. Let me bring up the tweet. Kevin tweeted at David Otunga. Wow, you found the one person that enjoys your commentary. Let us know when you find one that enjoyed your in-ring work. And I'm just like, yes, standing ovation for Kevin.
Oh my God, that's great. That is great.
And was it Corey Graves last night on Survivor Series that kept calling him Jennifer's husband?
Yes. He actually called her
like Jennifer Hudson.
No, at one point he actually called her, I believe he called him Jennifer Hudson once. But he said Jennifer's husband a bunch. But I think one time.
I'm not sure.
Right.
Like James Ellsworth on ESPN tonight. Fucking yes! CZW takes over ESPN. Fuck yeah!
Right.
Only on Thanksgiving Eve. Ha ha!
Makes sense.
Beautiful.
Well, we moved from Smackdown to UFC.
So, I don't want to say a fair bit to cover, but there somewhat is, because obviously we had 2 shows this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The Belfast show in the afternoon/evening. Not too bad a show, really. Out of the main card stuff, 3 of the 4 fights did go all the full distance. Artem Lobov beating Teruto Ishihara via unanimous decision. And then Alexander Volkov beating Timothy Johnson and Stevie Ray beating Ross Pearson, both via split decision. So, yeah. The crazy thing is the judge scorecards for these 2 fights were crazy. So for Volkov Johnson, there was a 29-28 Volkov, a 29-28 Volkov, and a 27-30 for Johnson. So, like, 2 of the judges gave it 2-1, and the other judge gave it 0-3. If you thought that was crazy, 2 of the judges that gave a split decision to Stevie Ray gave it 30-27. The other judge gave it 27-30. So one judge thought the one guy won every single round, whereas the other two were like, no, the other guy won all the fucking rounds. What? And the main event saw Jigard Masasi beat Uriah Hall with a first round TKO via punches. Pretty late on into the round. We were only about 30 seconds left or so in the round. In terms of the bonuses, there was no fight of the night, but performances of the night went to Jack Marshman, who was on the preliminary card, beating Magnus Kedenblad with a second round TKO via punches. Kevin Lee, also on the prelim card, beating Magomed Mustafayev with a rear naked choke technical submission. So I don't think he even tapped. The referee was just like, fuck it. Also, Justin, who beat Mark Godbeer with a rear naked choke, this time with a submission in the first round. And then the curtain jerker, Abdul Razak Al Hassan, with a 53-second knockout via punches over Charlie Ward. So, yeah, the $50,000 bonuses went to nobody on the main card.
Wow.
Fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful. That probably tells you how fucking shit the judging was, considering, you know, that main event. Also, it's worth noting there was a flyweight bout between Ian McCall and Neil Seary that was scheduled, but as Seary was weighing in, apparently it was announced that McCall had to pull out the fight because he became ill due to the effects of his weight cut. So for safety reasons and everything, they called it off. No that shit. Apparently Connor was at that show, of which I can't remember which fighter it was. I think it was Kevin Lee, because it's the lightweight stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in interviews since, he said, if I'd have known Connor was there, I'd have ripped him a new asshole. Because people know if they irk Connor enough, they get the next fight. So they get their monies. So then we get to Sao Paulo later on in the evening / morning, depending where you are in the world, for Fight Night 100. One interesting thing to note here on the Fight Pass preliminary card, at least this is from the US viewings, the very first fight, Darren Stewart and Frankimar Barroso, originally was ruled a TKO victory for Stewart, but then was overturned to a no contest by the Brazilian MMA Commission due to an inadvertent headbutt instead. I'm not sure whether it was from Stewart or Barroso in that sense. Might have been from Stewart. So that became a no contest. It's a bit interesting. For the main card, though, we had Sergio Moraes beat Zach Otto via split decision. Unanimous decisions for Kamaru Usman versus Walry Alves, and Christoph Yoko beating Tales Lietes. Then we had another unanimous decision in the women's division now in the straw weights, with Claudia Gadella beating Courtney Casey. That was a unanimous. Claudia won every single round for all three judges there, so quite heavy win there. Probably was an alley fight to some extent. Thomas Almeida beat Albert Morales for a second round TKO via punches. And then we had a third round TKO via punches in the main event as Ryan Bader beat Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. in the light heavyweight division. Again, with this one, there was no fight of the night. And again, we have to actually go to the majority of the preliminary card for the $50,000 bonuses. The first one did go to Almeida for his win on the main card against Morales. But the other three went to Cesar Ferreira, who beat Jack Hermanson with an arm triangle choke submission. Gazi Murad Antigolov, who beat Marcos Ruggiero de Lima with a guillotine choke submission in only 67 seconds. And then on the Fight Pass preliminary card, so not technically curtain jerker, because that was the one that I said that went to a no contest. But the preliminary card saw Pedro Munoz beat Justin Scoggins with a guillotine choke submission in the second round of their fight. So, yeah, a weekend for a lot of the undercard people to get some added unexpected bonuses, which is always nice to see. Which means we go into this weekend, and it's Fight Night Australia. Now, this is... I'm not sure what's going on here, because it's being listed to be on Fox Sports 1, and it's happening Sunday. But that's Sunday, I think, Melbourne, which probably means it's going to be like it was 12 months ago for the UFC pay-per-view, in which it's actually going to be done like late morning, early afternoon in Australia because of the time difference and everything, which will still be on prime time Saturday night for America. So although it's Sunday, it sort of is Saturday as well, I think. I should have looked more into it. But yeah, they're going to be going there at the Rod Laver Arena, where they play the tennis and all that stuff in a couple of months in Melbourne, Australia. The Fight Pass preliminary card features Dan Hooker versus Jason Knight in the featherweight division, Marlon Vera taking on Ning Guang Yu in the bantamweights, and a flyweight match with Yao Jikui and Janelle Lawser. Yeah, I did this on purpose, so I butcher names, Owen. The Fox Sports 1 preliminary card has got Ben Eugen versus Gene Herrera in the flyweights, Richard Walsh versus Jonathan Mounier in the welterweights, a lightweight contest with Damian Brown taking on John Tuck, and Dan Kelly facing Chris Camosi on the middleweights. And then for your main card, we've actually got 6 different weights covered here. So it's normally you sometimes get 2 of the same on like the main bit of cards, but no, we got 6 different divisions. So in the women's strawweight, we've got Seo Hee Ham taking on Danielle Taylor. In the light heavyweights, Tyson Pedro faces Khalil Roundtree. Yusuke Kazuya faces Alex Volkanovski in the featherweight division. Next, a welterweight fight with Kyle Nogue versus Amari Akhmedov. And then you co-main the lightweight fight between Jake Matthews and Andrew Holbrook. And the main event sees Robert Whittaker taking on Derek Brunson in the middleweight division. And then the stream of UFC continues all the way through to the end of the year. As I'll say probably at the end of each segment every time.
Fair point. Well, from UFC to Lucha Underground.
Oh, my word. Now, this is where I have to bring this up. Straight from the off. Tonight's episode is entitled Every Woman is Sexy, Every Woman is a Star. When you hear about what happens, you'll realize that my title that I came up with is much more realistic. I was going to entitle it "The Queen is Dead, Long Live the King."
Wow.
So previously, Aztec warfare, ninjas, brothers in arms, all that sort of shit. So then we get the White Rabbit promo thing showing up again. Except this time we know it's fucking Paul London. Basically dressed as a Mad Hatter sort of character. And it's, TikTok. Time is here. Time's up.
Down, down, down.
We go straight to the ring. And it's a trios title match. So it's Drago, Phoenix, and Aerostar defending against the Rabbit Tribe, which is Paul London, Saltador, and Suerte. By the way, spoilers in case you don't want to know this, Saltador and Suerte are, I'm not sure which is which, but one of them is the former Mr. Cisco, and one of them is the former El Mariachi Loco. Except they're obviously under different names. So Cisco's already been recast via death. If only everybody could get away with that. There was a lot of crazy shit from a lot of people in this match. Mainly, I think it was Phoenix drop kicking Aerostar off the apron himself, which doesn't make sense. The Rabbit Tribe doing a lot of crazy shit, and then of course the commentary saying, "Man, I bet the Rabbit Tribe have done a lot of dope in their time." And Vampiro's like, "I want to join them," and I'm immediately going, "Oh wow, they've just put a commercial on for El Rey Nation to give feedback." Here's the feedback. Stop referencing fucking drugs. And during this match, Cobra Moon's watching because, of course, the whole Drago thing. Phoenix gets the pinfall on one of the Rabbit Tribe. I can't remember which one. So Drago, Phoenix, and Aerostar retain. But then afterwards, Cobra gets a mic and taunts Drago, saying, "Soon you'll bow to your queen." Then we cut to commercial. Back from break, and Sexy Stars backstage, and Big Willie comes in and says, "Man, I don't know what happened last week. I should have been champion." And Sexy's like, "What?" And Willie's like, "Yeah, I'm getting with you. And I'm so pleased. I heard that sly guy, Johnny Mundo, is cashing in his gift of the Gods title. So don't worry, I'll be in your corner." And you slightly see a perturbed look on her face, and he's just like, "I'll make sure no shenanigans can happen." And she's like, "No," saying it all in Spanish, of course, but I can't be bothered to use a text to speech thing because I need to set it up for that sounder that always comes every week.
Of course.
She's like, "I want to do it by myself. I want to prove that I don't need any assistance. Proof that women are just as good as men." And he's like, "Okay, man. Yeah, I got faith in you." And immediately I'm going, "Really? This company that's run by a guy that doesn't like you and a gift of the Gods champion who's already beaten you before via shenanigans, and you think you can take the high road against somebody like that?" I don't want to say dumb bitch, But you dumb bitch! Anyway, next up, probably might be match of the season so far. Admittedly, that isn't saying much because I've only had 12 episodes. But Dante Fox versus Killshot. AR Fox versus Shane Strickland. I don't even fucking care if it's supposed to be the first time they're facing each other in Lucha Underground. It isn't. Which is why they put on a fucking incredible match.
Ashley, you do realize that, according to Dave, when they revealed the taping results for this season of Lucha Underground, they have probably the bloodiest match in company history at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm very much looking forward to.
Considering they come from CZW, yes.
Of course.
Yes. Flips, shit. God knows what a plenty. Really well put together. The fact that they're only given like 10, 15 minutes or so, they put on everything that they needed to. Kill shot hitting the kill shot and Fox kicking out. And kill shot's like, what? That never happens. And Fox doing all this crazy flippy shit, as he always does. And then finishes him off with the Fox catcher, or as I like to call it, Steve Carell in weird-looking prosthetics. And AR Fox gets the win. / Dante, but who's paying attention? So then we've got Dario in his office, and Mundo comes in. Not happy with what happened last week, with Angelico interfering. And then Mundo says, I've had to bring the law involved. Because he's managed to put a restraining order on Angelico. Mundo was like, yep, he isn't here. And this is an interesting touch. It was Mundo was like, you're not as stupid as you look. And Dario was like, what did you say? And Mundo replies, that's a clever move. And he's like, now I've got a date with Destiny winning that belt. And hopefully afterwards, I hope you show me a bit more respect. And Mundo turns to leave. And Dario just murmurs, what a prick. Oh, no, sorry. That's a bit later. He's like, what a jerk. And then at the same time, we're led to believe that Johnny Mundo turned away from Dario and went, what a jerk. And Dario's like, I'm sorry. And Mundo turns at him and is like, did you say something to me? And Dario's like, no, did you? And Mundo's like, no. And Johnny leaves the office, shuts the door, and Dario goes, what a prick. It's like, what? Why are we doing Three Stooges comedy in a fucking Lucha Underground? Then we go to Black Lotus in Dario's office as he's coming back in. I guess after he's taken a piss or something. I don't know. And she and the Triad apparently want Pentagon Dark. And Dario's like, right, we'll have it next week. And it's going to be a gauntlet match. And she's like, we all want revenge. We all want to take him down. And Dario goes, "Wow, this isn't any gauntlet match. No matter what the result, Pentagon has to face all four of you." So basically, we're getting 4 matches next week with Pentagon, at least.
Oh wow.
Which I can't remember whether that goes. I doubt it would have. They probably would have filmed other matches with it, so it could just be like he gets the first win, but loses the second, and then loses the third, and loses the fourth, like in no time.
Right.
Because these Stardom girls do not fuck about. Make a note of that, Taya, because apparently you're taking on Io Shirai, who is one of the ninjas, for the Stardom title. Like this week, I think, in Japan. So then we get the Lucha Underground title, Sexy Star defending against Johnny Mundo. It's a good match, but it's nothing like exceptional. And it's like, you know, it's nothing where it feels like it should be, like because she's champ, it's such a great thing. Yeah, the crowd do sort of mark out for it for a bit. But there is one bit that I do remember where he's like, Matt Striker or Vamp's like, wow, the crowd are so behind Sexy Star. And then all the crowd are chanting for Johnny. I don't know whether it's the Johnny, what was it, Johnny Chiro or something?
Something like that.
The negative thing. But because it sounds so similar to Johnny Mundo, it's like, or are they actually chanting for him? Because they want him to be champion. Like since day fucking one. But eventually some mystery person outside attacks Sexy Star with some brass knuckles when the referee isn't looking. Mundo puts the lifeless Sexy Star in the ring, sets up for End of the World, Starship Pain, whatever you want to call it. Didn't put her in the fucking right spot, so I think his hair landed on her. 1, 2, 3. We have a new Lucha Underground champion. Yeah. The title reign lasted 1 fucking week. Spoilers in real time, it lasted 1 fucking day. And then the mystery person unmasks themselves, and it's Taya. And then good old Jay, PJ Black, and Jack Evans come out and celebrate. The Sexy Star's just lying there, like thinking to myself, as I'm trying to queue up the thing, I really am a stupid cunt.
All right. So Ashley, of course, gets the last word as always.
I mean, and the thing is, they're like, the title of the thing, it's like, every woman is sexy, every woman is a star. So show her get fucking buried by, healer shenanigans. It just doesn't work. And by the way, can you tell this was done 7 months ago? Because this angle, I don't think would have happened if they knew Trump was getting in. And again, I don't think they even I guess they might have known by then, because I can't remember the timeline of events, whether the Donald was the Republican candidate. I'm trying to think back to April. Probably would have been around that time. But either way, that's Lucha, and everything that happened last week is a fucking anticlimax. Beautiful.
Well, we jumped from Lucha Underground to What Culture Pro Wrestling.
Well, at least this was mostly all right. So, we open with the Pacitti heel video package, which is on their channel that got posted up before anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically like, thank God that I've brought wrestling to London. You know, they've never had good wrestling. Keep in mind, obviously, you know, Progress Wrestling and all these other people that are on WCPW are on this show. It's like, this is a bit too overkill, Blompier. I don't know why you're writing this. And then we cut to the London building, and we actually see fucking Dave Bradshaw and Alex Shane on camera.
Oh boy.
It actually feels like a wrestling show now. It's not just a voice that could have been recorded when the fuck ever. Then we get Doug Williams doing a pre-recorded interview saying he's not impressed by Henry, you know, losing to these foreigners like Kurt Angle. You know, Joe Hendry's nothing but a local zero. And, you know, Scotland may have voted to stay in, but my vote is for you to be sent back where you came from, Joe Hendry. And I'm like, nobody gives a fuck about Brexit anymore. They're sick of this shit. They just want it done so people can get on with their fucking normal lives. Although with everything that's happened this year, everybody, you know, it might be a sign that David Bowie's death was the start of the apocalypse. There's a reason why he was asking us is there life on Mars, because we want to be fucking there instead. Except Doug Williams. This match, you can sort of tell Doug Williams is like 79 years old or however old he is. Because he's wrestling this match like he's an old guy. And when he's up against somebody that's got a lot more, I can't say a lot more experience, but it's like the whole Brexit gimmick that he's still going with. It's like, it's like the cabinet angle in Ring of Honor. It needs to die sooner rather than later. Because I think Doug can be just a general heel. He doesn't have to be, you know, a Trump supporter or a Brexit supporter or whatever. It's like, no. Anyway, Henry wins with a freak of nature. And then afterwards, Joe gets on the mic and says, you know, so what? I lost to Kurt Angle. He's Kurt Angle. You know, and he took respect from me saying how much of a good job I did. But then, speaking of respect, it's one person I've still got a problem with, and that's Joseph Connors. So, Joseph, I want you one-on-one at Delete WCPW in a steel cage. And you just leave it like that for now. So then we get a backstage promo with Scott Wainwright and Paul Robinson, the Swords of Essex, saying, you know, they're going to destroy the tag division as part of this tournament. And then in comes Will Ospreay, former stable partner with them. And he's like, oh, it's great to see you here. You know, I can't believe Adam booked you, but it's great to see you. And they're like, oh, we heard you got a match tonight. You want any help? And Ospreay's like, look, nice and all, but I want to do it myself, prove that I can do it. And then afterwards we can have a cheeky Nando's! Cheeky Nando's, yes! It's all happening. Cheeky Nando's for the win. So then we get Swords of Essex in action. So they literally cut a thing saying we're not in action tonight, and then they're in action in the next match. What the fuck? Taking on Mustache Mountain. Not too bad. Not as good as the Mustache Mountain Slater and Moss match from last week, but I don't think anything was going to be. Swords of Essex get the win with a sort of double team combo of like a code breaker followed by a stomp on the back to Tyler Bate who was sort of like caught in the turnbuckle. But they also did note Bradshaw, and I didn't see it at first. Swords of Essex did have feet on the rope, so it was a leverage pin. The shenanigans. So then we have Joe Coffey backstage and says, he's been offered despite his losses, he's been offered the chance to be part in the tag tournament. And perhaps he needs to. All this time, he's got a coffee cup in his hand, and he's like, you know what? Perhaps you need another coffee. And then walks in this guy, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Mark Coffey. I'm his younger brother. I've been a multiple-time tag champ around Europe. And I want to fight." So there you go. The Coffee's extra strong, whatever the hell we call it.
I've been waiting to
Double
see
the
when they're going to
blend.
bring him in.
The Coffees will be showing up sooner, possibly rather than later, because I'll get to that. Then we get the IC title match, the IT title, the Internet title match. El Ligero retained over the fan-voted Marty Scurll. Yeah, it wasn't Prince Amin or somebody else. I can't remember. But Scurll goes for the umbrella, which the referee takes off. He then grabs the title belt and goes to swing it. But El Ligero manages to roll him up. Title belt still in Marty's hands. 1, 2, 3. Ligero retains. And Marty's like, "Man, you were the better man. No, let me shake your hand." El Ligero reaches. Kicking the balls! The villain being villainous for his villainy. Villain. Did I say that word enough? So then we get Jack the Jobber backstage with Pacitti, worried about what's going on with Pacitti Club, and then Will Ospreay comes in, and Jack's like, and Adam's like, "Get out, Jack. We need to talk about this." And Ospreay's there, like saying, "Man, thanks for bringing in the Swords of Essex. It's great to see them in here. I hope they do well." And Adam's like, "Yeah, I'm hoping they'll do that as well." By the way, tonight, in your match against Martin Kirby, I want you to injure him badly. And Ospreay's like, no, Adam says like, "Oh, I want you to injure him badly. Be a good Pacitti head." And Ospreay's like, "What did you call me?" And Adam's like, "Pacitti head. It's the name for, people." Is like, "Do not call me that name. I will do whatever I feel like." So then we get Joseph Connors coming out, and cutting a better than usual promo. Still not great. The only bit, though, that saved it and gave it the emotion that he sort of carried on throughout the rest of the promo is when he said how he loved injuring Drew Galloway and putting him out for months, missing pay-per-views and missing getting money and nearly ending his career. And would have relished even more in the fact that he made Drew retire. And even like Alex Shane, that's supposed to be the supporter of Connors, was just like, that's going too fucking... Well, he didn't obviously swear, but it's like, that's going too fucking far, man. You don't do that.
Is it time to take the title off of Connors?
Connors accepts it. But you know, I give that when Connors did that and actually said, you know, oh, I wanted to put him out permanently. Just then, you actually saw the flicker of, oh wait, there's something interesting here. But the rest of the promo just wasn't. He sort of carried it on as soon as he said that, which was towards the end of the promo. But he doesn't feel like, I don't know, a great heel. I know he's in action this weekend on one of the shows, which we'll get to. Can't remember whether it's I think it's Southside, actually. I think off the top of my head, where he was world champion, ironically. I'm not sure whether he was heel or face in that angle. But yeah, the cage match is set for Delete WCPW. So then we got James R. Kennedy challenging Rampage to a best-of-7 series with Primate, but with different, more extreme stipulations being added every match in the series. So I guess the first one is just going to be a regular match. And then it goes crazy. So then we get Connors walking backstage, and Gabriel Kidd comes in and goes, "What's up with you, man? You know, this isn't the Joseph I knew. This isn't the Joseph that trained me and made me a better person." And Connors just grabs him by the throat. It's like, okay, make sure you're careful what you're saying. And Kidd's like, you want to fight? Because I'm ready to fight. Hell, there's even a camera here. Let's fight, you and me, right now. And Connors just goes, next week. Then you'll see. And like, again, it's like that sort of promo that Joseph did there is much better than anything he's done. You know, that was the one where it was actually, right, I see what's happening here. It's just a consistency of whether he can deliver it on a regular basis and not just sporadically here and there. So the main event, Ospreay Kirby 2. Interesting finish, to say the least, because Pacitti comes out to try and cause a distraction, but doesn't work. Then there's an accidental ref bump, and Pacitti waves to the back, and out come the Swords of Essex. And Will Ospreay's looking on like, what's going on, man? And they've got one of those retractable batons. They're just about to use it, but Kirby manages to get out of it. Goes to give one of them a sable bomb, only for Ospreay to have hit Kirby in the back with the baton. And with a smirk on his face, goes over to the side of the ropes, balances sort of like in his palm, and then just lets it fall to the floor. takes off his knee pad, takes off his other knee pad. You know, he's like medical sort of.
Right.
What do they call it? Medical support
Yeah.
on it. Good old shining wizard knee to the back of Kirby's head. 1, 2, 3. Osprey smiling away. Gets the win. Pacitti announces Osprey as the winner. And immediately announces for Delete WCPW Osprey versus Kirby 3. You know, the rubber. And Kirby's going to get his head kicked in.
Oh boy.
And then says, lads, and the Swords of Essex take off their tracksuit tops and are wearing Pacitti Club shirts. And they give the shirt to Osprey, and he puts it on. And the Pacitti Club is now an actual real thing.
Wow. That's good booking by Adam.
And this is where it goes shit.
Really?
I just think the Pacitti Club thing. Yeah, when BX died, it was good because the stuff that happens in What Culture needed to be sort of the basis of how you started with WCPW, but didn't need to remain around for long.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Blompier could have come up with a better idea than a rip-off Bullet Club.
I'm sure he could have.
Let's be honest, every fucking company has done that.
Right.
Shikara's done it. CZW's done it in the last year or two. TNA's done it. WWE's done it. You know, way too much. I don't know why. You know, even the British companies like Progress and Southside and all that have done it. You know, Alpha One, you know, promotion we're getting to this weekend have done it. AIW's done it. AAW's done, you know, everybody and their mother has done it. How even you know the Holy Grail for me and Owen, PWG has done it.
Right.
I just feel like WCPW could have somehow done it in a better direction. I think it's a genius move though, making Osprey heel.
Oh yeah.
Which is going against everything that he is in the other companies. But I just think the whole you know, reuniting with the Swords of Essex is good, but it's like, why does he have to be in Pacitti's pocket? Why couldn't it just be a heel stable that is aligned with Pacitti, but doesn't have to be Pacitti Club? Because
I think
the problem with this fucking shit is it's now it got dragged out into the whole Survivor Series prediction shit. If you've seen the video of like the reactions from the two Adams and Jack on Sunday that they put up in the last day or so, they're doing it in that. So the stuff that's not on the WCPW channel and the stuff that is blending together. And that's the reason why it doesn't work. The reason Blompier disappeared off the fucking face of the earth for the company is because he's better as a... Well, I wouldn't say he's better as a writer. If you had Blompier as the Pacitti figure in this thing, I think he would do a much better job.
I agree.
You know, Pacitti doesn't have a face you want to punch. Blompier does. And
that's the reason why it worked in the first place.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like, let's sell t-shirts.
Yeah. What was it? Within an hour of Blompier being gone on the pay-per-view, Pacitti had already turned heel.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
So that was the end of that. But I need to check whether this has been put up since. But earlier today, Wednesday, it was What Culture Wrestling put up episode 1 of the relaunched Reloaded, which was which is basically a magazine format style show, highlighting the major stuff that happened on the show, along with basically stuff that they couldn't fit in and exclusive matches. So there was a bit where apparently they were trying to find Primate because he'd gone missing. So there was a clip where Primate, with a rope around his body, was dragging Kennedy like on a barge. I couldn't tell whether it was like a boat trawler or something, but whatever the fuck it was, I don't know why it was on my computer screen. Then he destroyed 3 jobbers. I don't know whether it was the same one from a few weeks back or whether it was a different one. Then we had a bit with, I guess, it was partly Blair Witch and partly I don't give a fuck. Primate was like going through the offices, I guess, looking for people to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So the cameraman's hiding and everything. And then he finds a room with 2 people tied to a chair and goes in. And then Kennedy comes in and locks the door. And heads off like, oh, thank God we've got that sorted. And then he just turns to the people in the chair and roars at them. And then obviously it cuts away to whatever. So I guess those people are now dead. I don't know. And then we had a showcase of the Coffees taking on Prince Amin and Gabriel Kidd. And it was a good tag match. Coffee's getting the win, unsurprisingly. The thing is, though, this was being advertised by the ring announcers and the commentators and the ring announcer that it was the quarterfinal in the tag tournament. Despite the fact that 2 minutes before, Ben from What Culture, who's hosting it, says that the final quarterfinal will see the Swords of Essex versus the Coffees. Totally going against what we were told 2 minutes afterwards.
Huh.
And then extra confusingly, after that match, which after it happened, Kidd left without Prince Amin. So I guess Amin basically sort of screwed him over. So Kidd didn't decide to be a good servant back for what happened. And Ben says, okay, next week we've got the fallout from the Pacitti Club being formed, as well as a new member being found. We've got the match between Connors and Kidd. And then both semi-finals of the tag tournament. Despite the fact that, oops, how can we have a semi-final with 5 people? So I've got a feeling the reason why the video is now private, because you can if you go to What Culture WWE's or the What Culture WWE Twitter account, the
Right.
tweet's still there. If you click on the link, it says the video's private.
Hmm.
So I've got a feeling somebody realised all the fuck ups that were in there, and they've basically ditched it, and they're now re-editing it and whatever to make sense.
It's very possible.
Which is a bit awkward considering they're only 1 week away from the pay-per-view.
Right.
Which we've got quite a lot of the card for. The only match that they haven't confirmed, but considering how the only two women on the show are Nixon Newell and Bea Priestley, I guess we're getting that match. I don't know whether it's a title match or not, we'll see. But the ones we have got confirmed, Rampage Brown versus Primate in the first of the best of 7 series. Ospreay versus Kirby Free. Matt Hardy taking on Bully Ray. Just announced today, Alberto El Patron taking on Johnny Mundo. And then the 2 title matches. I mean, there might be a crowning of the tag champs at this as well, but I don't know that for sure. We've got El Ligero defending the internet title against Cody Rhodes, and Joseph Connors defending the WCPW World title in a steel cage against Joe Hendry. Trying to think, that is on What Culture Extra. If you want to pay, I think it's $6.99 a month or $70 for 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
Be an idiot like me. Or you can go to the app of Fight TV, because yes, it's one of the things they've actually still got on Fight TV thanks to Flow Slam. Although I'm wondering how long that's going to take before it's gone. Hang on, where is it? There it is. Trying to get a price. Delete WCW is going for $10.99, so I think that's about $15. I think. How much is Final Battle? Oh wow, they've actually got it in Spanish on the app. Holy shit! Final Battle's £26. Fuck off! Fuck right off! Bloody hell! Back in the day when you could actually buy the iPay-per-views off bloody Ring of Honor, like I did for Final Battle 2010. My proudest moment of being the first indie show I'd seen live. And yes, it was the one with Kevin Steen versus El Generico in the bloody Fight Without Honor, which was incredible. So yeah, that's your schedule. More matches will probably be added Saturday, for the final card ahead of Wednesday. I'm not sure whether they're doing when their next show is. I know they've got tapings in. Well, they've got a show in Liverpool in January. I'll have to go to my Google Calendar if I can find it in order to work out whether it's going to be January the fuck. I have to do that. January the 5th is a Thursday, so probably not, because all the shows seemingly are on probably Wednesdays now. I mean, I don't know.
Mm.
Of course, you've obviously got the lot. I'm guessing it's going to be on iPay-per-view from Orlando in April. But there you go.
Well, we shift again from What Culture to let's go into the news.
I mean, there's one thing which I did want to bring up that it probably may not be in Dave's stuff if it is up. Probably I'll have a refresh to see if it is up soon. Uh, Looks like it isn't. Oh, I'm gonna have to be waiting on Dave. House of Hardcore have announced that they're going to be having all three of its December events on Flow Sports and Flow Slam. I don't know whether it's going to be a permanent thing, but probably is, considering all the previous House of Hardcore shows are also going to be on there. They've announced a few of the sets of cards for the shows for then. The Flow Slam debut will also be House of Hardcore's debut in Waukesha, Wisconsin, featuring Paul James versus Kevin Thorne, Matt Cross versus Tony Nese, Bob Holly versus Sammy Callahan. Appearances and matches from Ryback, Tommy Dreamer, Mickey James, and Colt Cabana. And the last ever GLCW. I don't know what that is. GLCW Steel Cage match as Al Snow teams up with Dave Hero to take on Damian Nelson. God, if the E and the M were the right way around, I'd say it was Demon, but whatever. And
It's
Abyss.
Great Lakes Championship. It's Great Lakes Championship Wrestling. Ashley, they do that Blizzard Brawl show in New York every year.
Oh, apparently it's the last ever.
Oh, wow.
Or something. Well, we'll get to the last ever in a minute. And then on the 16th of December, House of Hardcore returns to the 2300 / ECW Arena in Philly. On that card, you got Kikutaro, Taya, Alex Reynolds, and the debuting, at least in the ECW Arena, Brooklyn Brawler. We've got Vic Delicious teaming up with TJ Marconi and Eddie Kingston to take on Dan Barry and two mystery partners. And if Dan Barry and his team loses, all three are banned from House of Hardcore. Tony Nese takes on Leo Rush in Tony Nese's farewell to the Independents. Sammy Callahan goes one-on-one with Brian Cage. John Hennigan will face Phoenix. And main event sees Tommy Dreamer and Matt Hardy in a steel cage. Another little bit of news, which does tie into one of the shows this weekend, because I'm not sure I mentioned it last week. AAW Wrestling announced that they're sort of taking over the running of Dreamwaves events in LaSalle, Illinois. Dreamwave shows, I think, are still happening, but by the sounds of it, it's going to sort of be under the AAW brand, similar to how AAW had Valkyrie shows for the women's wrestling. Oh no, it was it was different letter V, Vanguard Wrestling. It was like a secondary show where some of the students of the Illinois area would get a chance to shine rather than the big name stars brought in like Hero or Pentagon Jr. or Phoenix and all that. I know that they're keeping that basis. They probably would be, because it wouldn't hurt them any further. But I think they just put up tickets for like season passes for both the Chicago area and the LaSalle shows. The LaSalle ones mainly being the Dreamwave ones. So you can get them and get a pass, which gives you practically next to nothing entry for the entire year to the shows that you may want to go to and all that stuff.
Anything? There's a lot of big things going on with WWN Live right now.
Yeah, that crazy shit. So, Gabe Sapolsky's taking over as Booker of FIP, which is probably a best thing because some of the stuff in FIP was a bit weird. They've also organised a new promotion called Style Battle. So the concept that has been on previous Evolve and Dragon Gate USA and other Gabe Sapolsky shows is now actually being made into a sort of a brand for WWN Live. And then on top of that, they're going to be doing a WWN Championship. So it's sort of somebody that could defend the title on all the brands, which is a bit confusing because I guess that implies you're going to have intergender wrestling. Because they stressed how Shine was one of the brands as part of the WWN Live network. In which case, women are going to have to face men. Because the majority of the other ones are going to be but men. You know, like Evolve, like FIP. So, I don't know. But we'll see. I think they said that the first WWN World Champ will be crowned at their Super Show, I think as part of the WrestleMania weekend.
Right.
Or was it February? I can't even remember what it said in the email.
Well, there's all the new stuff going on about WrestleCon, too.
Oh, you got more on that one?
Well, a little bit. I mean, obviously, WrestleCon is a little bit more important to me than some people would right now. Tickets are on sale. They're doing packages. There is one package that's already completely sold out. The Platinum VIP package is completely sold out, so they have gold available. Second row seating, center seats, 15% cheaper than purchasing individually, including Evolve from March 30th, Progress, and the WWN Super Show Mercury Rising. Third row for Evolve, Progress, and Mercury Rising. VIP admission to Kaiju and Beyond Wrestling, special edition experience shirt and poster. Free shipping, it's $329. The general admission package is general admission seats. VIP admission to Kaiju and Beyond, the poster, free shipping, it's $199. If you're interested in any of this information on tickets, check out morethanmania.com. And they're also highlighting the individual sites for Evolve, Progress, Chikara, Kaiju, Shimmer, and Mercury Rising, as well as Beyond Wrestling. So all those tickets can be purchased at morethanmania.com.
Oh, the one I forgot. PWG has announced it will be returning December the 16th. And it's going to be a heck of a main event. Because the champ, Zack Sabre Jr., will be defending the PWG World title against the man cashing in his bowler opportunity, the villain Marty Scurll. That's the only match announced so far. I'm guessing, well, I shouldn't say that, because knowing Excalibur and the guys at PWG, they've probably just announced 3 matches while I've been talking for the past 2 hours.
To the interwebs.
Quickly. Sorry, I'm trying to look. Oh, wow. I've actually got cheap. Okay, the Black Friday deals have started early. Oh. Or is it today?
It's just listing that match for PWG right now.
Right.
I just checked it.
I'm just getting confused because it's it's one of my trending Twitter things, and it's like, why is that link there? They said the Black Friday deals wouldn't be until Thursday. They've done it too early. I was still waiting on Dave, so I don't know what we're doing.
I think that, well, we do have a couple pieces of interesting news that came out. Something I mentioned to you. It was announced earlier today that John Cena has joined the cast of Thor Ragnarok.
What?
Yeah. Doesn't say what he's going to be playing, but it does say that he is going to be part of the movie as himself. We don't know exactly what he's going to be playing as himself, but the movie comes out November 3rd, 2017. Of course, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Hiddleston, Idris Elba, Kate Blanchett returning, as well as newcomers Tessa Thompson, Jeff Goldblum, Anthony Hopkins, and Sam Neill. Big news coming out of Ring of Honor, or should I say literally leaving from Ring of Honor. It was announced earlier today that Steve Corino is going to become a full-time trainer at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Corino will be able to do Final Battle, and he'll be able to do his scheduled spots for the rest of the year. But he is going to be moving straight to WWE, which poses the question, will we see Corino in the broadcast booth?
Well, we know what's fucking happening now. Kevin Sullivan gets fucking murdered at the Final Battle.
Most likely, yes.
That has to happen now.
Yep.
I think that's the only match we don't know about.
Right.
But that feud now has a sort of definitive end because, he's like, Steve Corino was like the Doge. The Doge meme. It's like, many wrestlers, such wow. When he went there. I pretty much summed up his feelings from what I remember.
Yeah, this was broken on a lot of things, actually. Very interesting. It came out of ProWrestling.net originally.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a good possibility we could see Corino doing commentary for WWE in one form or another. And that, my friends, is a good thing. My guess is Matt Taven will probably take over, guest commentary, but the problem is I guess he'd just probably be Nigel.
He might be in action, though.
Well, then in those situations, I think it probably would be Nigel.
In that situation, I would actually say his brother in arms in this storyline, BJ.
That is a possibility.
BJ is pretty good. He's done it quite a few times in AIW.
He done stuff for Heartland too.
Out on the side, he was doing color commentary and was doing a good job of it.
He's done
again, so was
commentary
Eddie
for Ian
Kingston,
too.
but he's fucked his career by going to TNA.
Like I said, say what you want. I'm just glad Eddie Kingston's on a televised product again.
Yeah,
not the one everybody prefers, but still. So yeah, that's very interesting that would happen that way, especially because I remember numerous times Corino went in for tryouts and they pretty much shut him down as a commentator because of his forehead. Especially with the HD camera.
That was back in the days when he was ECW.
Right.
Now he's just a bad person.
Yes. So yeah, we wish Steve Corino the best, and honestly, he's been a very big breath of fresh air for Ring of Honor commentary with Kevin Kelly. It's a shame that means that we're going to split up that commentary team.
I actually think I know he's going to be trainer, but I sort of want Steve, just to free up Corey because he's doing fucking everything.
Oh no, I have a feeling he's taking Corey's spot at least once.
Because I just want him to go to Tom Phillips as the crowd are chanting "Holy shit!" The whole thing of, "What are they saying, Tom?"
Well, he doesn't have to worry about getting super
I don't
kicked
think
on
Vince would like
NXT.
it. I don't think Vince would like it. Triple
No,
H might smirk, so it might be good.
indeed. But yeah, I think it's pretty big news actually coming out today.
Yep.
Do we have any? We have news on the Real World Tag League from New Japan.
Yes. So we've had 5 nights so far. The big things that came out. Tetsuya Naito's mystery partner is the widely believed, as we talked about last week, Rush from CMLL.
Mm.
Hasn't worked out though because I think they've only had one win, which admittedly was the important one because it was against Tanahashi and Juice Robinson. But first day as well, we also had Tenkoji. Tenkozy. Beat the champs, the Gorillas of Destiny, to get their first win in the tournament. But obviously, building up to the fact that they beat the tag champs, what's going to happen? Night 2, the thing to note from Block B, or one of the things to note from Block B, Sanada and Evil beat Shibata and Nagata. And Evil made it known that the series of matches against Shibata is far from over, and alluded to another shot at the title belt, saying, "Welcome to the darkness world. This is evil. Everything is evil." Makabe and Honma got the win as well, and said that they want to become IWGP Tag Champs once more. And Makabe mentioned that it's his 20th anniversary as a wrestler next year, and he wants to cap it off with being a champ. And Yoshihashi stated he will not take the loss that he had with Okada in this match standing. Said that he aimed to bounce back and win the league. We'll see what happens with that. Nothing hugely eventful happened in night 3. Night 4. Nothing of note that I'm seeing. And night 5, I didn't even put a note on, so if I'll quickly bring that up. But while I'm doing that, I can actually because it's night 4, that means I'm finished with Block B, so I might as well run through the standings for that block.
Okay.
As it stands. Oh shit, Stardom. Quick, I'll bring that up as well because I'm interested. So Block B, as it stands, 3 teams are perfect. Sanada, Evil, Yoshitatsu, and Billy Gunn. Yes, for real. And Hiroki Goto and Tomohiro Ishii. Then we have Makabe and Honma and Okada and Yoshihashi on 2 points. And then Kenny Omega, Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale and the Bone Warrior, and Shibata and Nagata all on 0 points. So day 5, nothing of note happened majorly. So the standings as they are, the only team perfect is Tenkozy with 6 points. 4 teams on 4 points. That's Breaker and Race. That's Brian Breaker and Leyland Race. The Gorillas of Destiny, Rowan Hansen, War Machine, and Yujiro and Page. Naito and Rush are on 2 points. And then Hanare and Manabu Nakanishi and Hiroshi Tanahashi and Juice Robinson on 0. They can't win for toffee. In terms of what's coming up this weekend for that schedule, we got Night 6 this Friday in Hiroshima. Saturday, they're going to be in Kochi at the Sumpia Cress. How the hell you pronounce that? And Sunday, Ihime at the Texport in Imabari. And then Tuesday for day 9 in Nagasaki and day 10 in Kagoshima at the Satsuma Sendai City Sports Park, Sun Arena, Sendai. So I don't know if that's Sendai or Kagoshima or both. But by this time next week, we'll have days 6 through 10 done. We've still got another 2 weeks or so to go after that as well. I think the reason why it's more days than it is matches is because one of the sets of shows, I think this week, one of the days is, or 2 of the days are only having 2 tournament matches per day rather than the 4 that we've had over the last 5 days. I can't remember which one's off the top of my head. I think it's towards the latter stage. So I think it's days 9 and 10 possibly, but yeah, they're splitting it up. So it's probably it'll go to in total, I think, somewhere in the region of like 19 or 20 days as we build to the finals, which is I think like December. I've got it in my notes at the other side of the page. December the 10th. So yeah, we've still got 2 weeks to go.
All right.
What time do you got to work tomorrow?
Also, this past weekend, CWF Mid Atlantic had their Ultimate Survivor show. Only 4 matches on it, but that's because there's a lot of people involved. The 8-man tag team elimination saw Dan O'Hare, Dave Dawson, Shellac, and Zane Dawson beat Aaron Biggs, Dirty Daddy, Mecha Mercenary, and Snooty Fox. The Mid-Atlantic television title 5-way match went to a time limit draw, so Eric Andrews retained, with the match also featuring Donnie Dollars, Mitch Connor, Smith Garrett, and Osiris. Then in the Cibernetico, it was the team of Ethan Alexander Sharp, Kabuki Ni, Mike Jordan, Otto Schwanz, Roy Wilkins, the Number Boy, the Number Man. They're good names. And Vlad Balashov beating Cecil Scott, Court Montgomery, Joey Rogers, Callis Miller, Mark James, Nick Richards, Rob McBride, and Walter Eaton. And then the 6-man tag best 2 out of 3 falls match, it was Trevor Lee, Andrew Everett, and Chet Sterling beating Eric Royal, Brad Attitude, and Lee Valiant by 2 falls to 1. Something worth noting as well, St. Louis Anarchy had their very last show before. It says NWL St. Louis, but I don't know whether that's NWA or is there an NWL? Do you know, Owen?
There's an I know that there was an NWL in Las Vegas a long time ago, like in the early late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, there's an NWL.
So it was certainly, it's the last under the St. Louis Anarchy brand anyway, which had culminated in Davey Vega winning the triple threat featuring Gary J and the heavyweight champ Matt Fitchett, who is ironically his tag team partner this weekend. Not related, but whatever. Winning the St. Louis Anarchy title. I'm not sure whether he's held that before, but yeah, it's been some interesting matches in St. Louis Anarchy the last couple of years that I've been looking at the indie scene. So I say it's a shame to see it go, but it's just getting amalgamated into the NWL or whatever it is. Hopefully it don't go shit. PWX had their X16 tournament. this weekend, which finished with Anthony Henry beating Ethan Case, who Ethan Case was the champion last year, so made it all the way through to the final, but then successfully defended. Or sorry, didn't successfully defend because Anthony Henry beat him. And saying that it was great to see that two homegrown talents put on a show this weekend, which is interesting, of course, because Anthony Henry had to go through Zack Sabre Jr. in the semi-finals, Trevor Lee in the quarterfinals, which admittedly he is a local talent, but obviously he's gone on to TNA and whatever before. But yeah, that was the winner of that. Beyond Wrestling's Insatiable. We had John Silver beat Tracy Williams, Christian Casanova, Elia Markopoulos, Mikey Webb and Scotty Slade beat Anthony Green, Brick Maston, Kan Zangami and Davien. Keith Lee getting the win over Kimberly. Team Pazuzu beat the Secret City Soldiers. Eddie Edwards got the win over Yaka. Chuck O'Neill also beat Yaka. That's a bit weird. Jonathan Gresham beat Matt Cross. The Crusade for Change, victorious over Team Alpha One. And yes, that was the Space Monkey. We'll get to him later. Brian Fury beat Chris Hero. The Gentleman's Club beat Biff's Kids. Oh, now that makes sense. Matt Riddle beat Matt Tremont in the Anything Goes match. And then in the unsanctioned match to close off the show, Mikey Webb beat JT Dunn. WSU and CZW this past weekend. The Fella Twins retained the tag belts over the Backseat Girls. And then the main event, Sue Young beat Leva Bates to win the Spirit title. Leva was cosplaying as Enchantress, which is why she lost, because nobody wants to remember that existed. It was worth noting, though, that the Sinister Sweethearts and Balespin, who fought earlier on in the night in a match that Balespin won, came out and had a brawl. The Backseat Girls also then came out, but Annie Social turned on Missy.
Wow.
The tag partners are no more. They got back together for one shot, and I guess that's becoming a thing. Also worth noting that Mercedes Martinez beat Lufisto on the card as well. So we're edging closer and closer towards Ali possibly taking on Mercedes somewhere down the line.
Nice.
Then the CZW, Night of Infamy. We had Tony Deppen beat Alexander James. Homicide beat Yuma. Then got challenged to a Cage of Death or a match at Cage of Death by Greg Excellent. It's an interesting one. Tim Donst beat Lucky 13, which then resulted in the build to the main or the Cage of Death match coming in, because the Young Dragons teaming up with the Young Dragons took out Danny Havoc and Devon Moore. I guess that means the Nation of Intoxication is dead, because Lucky 13 just walked off saying, he used to have fun wrestling and it isn't fun anymore. And got crazy. EYFBO beat the Dub Boys, and then afterwards Monster Mac of the Hit Squad, who was watching, offered EYFBO a tag title opportunity at Cage of Death. Frankie Picard and Jimmy Lloyd's fight went to a no contest because Blackwater came out spitting mist into both people's faces, building into the announcement that for the third year running, Dojo Wars was going to be having a mega event in the afternoon to prelude Cage of Death. Then Joe Gacy beat Sami Callihan, and afterwards Callihan refused to leave the ring. But then the lights went out, and then the video at the end, the hashtag NISUK video played, which turned out to be a certain Leo Rush, to lots of cheers from the crowd, which, considering for a time he was heel, I guess it's he impressed that much in the whole Joey Janela angles. So it'll be Sammy versus Leo Rush at Cage of Death. Then JT Davidson and Brittany Blake gloated about how Scarlett and Grays are overseas representing CZW, and then noted that Brittany Best won the Ultimate Opportunity match at Best in the Best that allows her to get anything she wants in the Combat Zone. Forgot about that. Black G's beat Arcadia to retain the Jersey All Pro World title. Then Jonathan Gresham came out for the world title match, who demanding then the referee to count out Danny Havoc. Danny Havoc then tried to come out, but was stopped by management and medical staff. And Maven Bentley said that since the Havoc's match with Ricky Shane Page is the only confirmed match at Cage of Death, he's got to protect the investment, do what's best for business. Unless, of course, basically Maven offered the chance that Havoc could could compete for the world title tonight, but would have to forfeit the match against Shane Page, and Havoc obviously chose that instead. So then Joe Gacy came out and basically Maven said, I've got to protect my investment here as well. There needs to be a world title match. So what happened is Gresham walked out the match, went to the locker room, packed his bags and left. Unsurprisingly, there's another Cage of Death match set up. And then the Squared Circle of Sacrifice match had the Young Dragons, thanks to assistance from Devon Moore, beating the Weapons of Mass Destruction, which is Jeff Cannonball and Matt Tremont and people like that. But then Claxton got involved. And then Drew Blood showed back up, making it a 4-1-3 assault. And then Matt Tremont challenged the 4 of the Young Dragons and whatever to a Cage of Death match itself. And Devon Moore said, yeah, that's good, but we've got 4, you've got 3. And then the video played, which was a bloody weird video when you don't know the context. But the 4th person was revealed to be Joey Janela. So that whole angle that Zandig was taking over the company, I have no clue what the fuck's happening, because we haven't seen Zandig since. Why? Preston City Wrestling. I only bring this up because Rampage Brown beat Chris Dickinson on night 1 in Liverpool. Dave Rain and Joey Hayes lost to Shane Douglas and the Honky Tonk Man. What the fuck?
That's a very random tag team.
AR Fox beat El Ligero. And then on night 2, Danny Hope successfully teamed with the Honky Tonk Man to beat Lionheart and Shay Samuels by DQ. That's the one that sort of stands out from that. Sorry that I can't go through all the results, but you'll be able to find them all somewhere on Tay Internet, because that's how I found them. The Ring of Honor stuff. Well, night 1 was eventful in Liverpool because that was when Will Ospreay beat Bobby Fish to become Ring of Honor TV champ. Night 2 in Leicester was eventful because that's where the Hurricane Rana Meltzer driver happened, which is a bloody ridiculous 6 spot. The Young Bucks retained the titles, by the way, with Will Ospreay and Marty Scurll. And then Marty Scurll beat Will Ospreay the next night in London, York Hall, to win the TV title himself, which is built into the reveal, announcement, whatever you want to call it, of Scurll, Ospreay, Dragon Lee, and Bobby Fish in a fatal 4-way at Final Battle a week on Friday. Booyah and other assorted noises.
All right.
ICW's Fear and Loathing 9, which me and Owen can sort of talk about because we did see some of it. Joe Hendry beat David Blaze by pinfall. Not too bad a match, really. The entrance was okay, but I've seen Hendry do better, to be quite honest. Then a pretty solid women's title match with Kaylee Ray beating Carmel and Viper to win the title off Carmel. And then afterwards, Carmel congratulated Kaylee Ray, said she was thankful for the time, and for the time being, she was finished in ICW and wanted to sit in the fans. I don't think she did because she went to the back, but that was the intent. Then straight after that, we had the casket match with Stevie Boy beating BT Gunn with some Kaylee Ray assistance. This would have helped if there was a bit more time in between rather than she's just come out.
Right.
Then the no DQ tag team title match of Jackie Polo and Mark Coffey beating the Dudleys in what was, I don't know what the shit that was.
Easily one of the worst matches I think I've seen this year. Something was just wrong with the chemistry in this match. Something just went wrong.
It felt like an audible was called and it went shorter. And
I agree.
And not considering what happened later that night with Goldberg and Lesnar, it didn't seem like that sort of. It sort of felt like it was an unplanned finish, whereas the Goldberg one clearly was. Afterwards, Davey Blaze and Wee Man came to the ring, and Davey Blaze got put for a table. Then we had the Stairway to Heaven match. Mick Foley appearing via video link and announcing that the 6th person to join Champ Lionheart, Andy Wild, Liam Thompson, Yeston Recent, Aaron Echo, and Zach Gibson. Oh, wait, that already is 6. But a 7th person was added, and that person was former champ Kenny Williams.
Yes.
Who is no longer former champ because he won the 0G title. Then somewhat of an upset as Lewis Gervin beat Ricochet via submission. Wolfgang retained the World Heavyweight title from Trent Seven by escaping the steel cage in inverted commas, because what happened is they were on top of the side of the cage, and Trent hit Wolfgang with a pair, which caused Wolfgang to fall off through some tables outside. But of course, his feet touched the floor when he fell, meaning although he got beaten the shit out of, he won the title. It's a nice little twist. Then with the control of ICW on the line, Team Dallas beat Team Black Label. So Kid Fight was eliminated, Shay Samuels was eliminated first. So it was 4-on-3 for Black Label. And then DCT got taken out So it became 4-on-2. Oh, sorry, no. DCT eliminated Kid Fight, so it was 3-on-3. Then it was 3-on-2. Then Grado managed to eliminate Bram, so it was level pegging again. Then Jack Jester managed to get rid of Grado. Then the key thing, when it was 2-on-1, after Chris Renfrew managed to eliminate Jack Jester, so it went to the final 2 guys, Galloway shouted that Jack Jester was the weak link. So we got to the end of the match. Galloway attempted to give a DDT to Mark Dallas, but was stopped. Ella came to the ring. They stared down. Jack Jester then ran out with a pipe, stood between the two, handed the pipe to Balor, who clearly, broken because Drew said he was the weak link. Balor smacks it in the head of Galloway, and Renfrew pins Galloway. Might have been after a stunner, I'm not sure, or an ace crusher, whatever. But Team Dallas wins, and then following Mark Dallas fires Red Lightning. And then the main event, some would argue as an upset, Joe Coffey beat Kurt Angle via submission. Boom. In terms of what's coming this weekend, Preston City Wrestling have got the Wrestling World Championships, which is like a cross promotion with, I think it's WXW Beyond Wrestling, I think, and CZW, along with Preston City Wrestling. It's four companies, 4 wrestlers in each, over 2 nights and 3 shows. Because there's a Friday evening show and a Saturday morning into afternoon and early evening into late evening show on Saturday. I think there's tickets still available for all of them at the Evoke Club in Church Street, Preston. Each show is £20. But if you've got the chance to go to all 3, there's a reduced ticket of price for all 3 shows of £50, which also includes meet and greet entry and post-show entertainment, plus after parties. Huzzah. Southside Wrestling, its final show of the year, Ill Manners, featuring a last woman standing match between Nixon Newell and Kaylee Ray, which they're billing as the final one. So is somebody leaving? Sad face. El Ligero defending the Southside heavyweight title against Pete Dunne. Joseph Connors taking on MVP. Some reality TV star guy that isn't Jesse Goddard is having some match. And Marshall X and Gracie take on Gabriel Kidd and Hornswoggle. So Hornswoggle is Prince Ami. Progress Wrestling's Chapter 39, The Grapes of Wrath. Sold out, so you can't see it anyway. It'll probably be up on Progress Wrestling's on-demand site pretty quickly. The big thing about this one, because of Haskins having to drop the belt last month, the winners of every single match on this card, bar one, because it's the women's match, will be in a 7-man eliminator at the end of the night. So the non-championship or the non-Progress World Title contendership match is instead a natural progression Series 4 first-round match, as Nixon Newell will be taking on Katie Harvey. But the other matches, Jimmy Havoc, one-on-one with Marty Scurll. Matt Riddle, one-on-one with Will Ospreay. British Strong Style, Trent Seven and Pete Dunne. That's a different... Well, I guess that's a different Strong Style in WCPW. They defend the belts against the London Riots. And then there's another tag team match, which was supposed to be the Hunter Brothers taking on the South Pacific Power Trip. but instead it's in their place are FSU, Mark Andrews and Eddie Dennis. So that's the South Pacific Power Trip, by the way, is TK Cooper and Travis Banks. In case you're wondering what FSU stands for, one belief is that it stands for Friends Stands United. There's also another belief that it stands for Fuck Shit Up. And then the other contendership match, we'll see Pastor William Eva, or whatever he's pastor anymore, because it wasn't listed in the notes that I got off Progress's site, taking on Joe Coffey. So the 2 tag team winners and the other 3 singles match winners will go on to that main event. Also, afterwards, they're doing a special advanced screening of the This Is Progress documentary that's been put together over the last few months. There'll also be a Q&A panel afterwards featuring people like Jim Smallman and Mark Haskins and a bunch of others. The film apparently is only 15 minutes in length, though, so it's sort of a short. But that'll be on at 9 o'clock at night, straight after the sold-out Grapes of Wrath show. But there are no refunds. Fight Club Pro having a tournament itself this Friday, Infinity 2016. 7 of the entrants have only been confirmed so far. Apparently, the 8th one they don't want to say until it's set in stone, and I guess it isn't set in stone unless I quickly go to Facebook and it's suddenly been added. In which case, awkward. So the 2 non-tournament matches, Dan Maloney takes on Sean Custom, and then Nixon Newell teams up with Kaylee Ray, making her debut in Fight Club Pro. Possibly for the first and last time, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Team up apparently to take on the Hunter brothers, which is a bit awkward because from what I've heard from one of the other promotions, I think it's the Progress Wrestling show that we just talked about. Lee Hunter has got like a pulled or a torn like bicep or tricep or something. Or he's torn. Or no, I think he's got some ligament damage in his ankles or something. So I don't know what's happening with that match. So I have to see what Nixon and Kaylee Ray will be up to. You never know; they might be trying to fight each other instead. In a preview of what's to come. But the Infinity Tournament itself, the 7 names confirmed are Trent Seven, Chris Brooks, Joe Coffey, Tyler Bate, Mike Lee Whiplash, Travis Banks, and also an interesting one, the Fight Club Pro Dojo top prospect Omani. So that's a bit of a way to make your debut. Oh yeah, you're in a match with some pretty other good UK and international talents. Ouch. Also this weekend is WrestleCade. So I think tickets are all but sold out for the Showcase of Champions show, which is on Friday, which is going to be every title on the line, which comprises of Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, Jeff Jarrett's Global Force Wrestling, really, Maryland Championship Wrestling, or MCW is now, AML Wrestling, Paragon Pro Wrestling, and Modern Vintage Wrestling, along probably others. There'll also be appearance from that by Cody Rhodes. The WrestleCade convention featuring stars from past, present, and future is on the Saturday. And then Sunday, the Queens of Combat will be having their next show. Queens of Combat 16. Rachel Ellering will be part of the show, but the only match confirmed so far is Taylor Hendricks defending the Queens of Combat title against Sue Young. Alpha One's having, I think it's final show of the year, Final Act 7, or in the subtitle, This Is Everything, in Hamilton, Ontario. Tickets are 20 and 25 Canadian dollars. There's also a live recording of Colt Cabana's Art of Wrestling podcast. Tickets are $5 at the door, but if you got the gold ticket, you do get free entry, which I'm guessing the gold ticket is probably special. It might be the front row ticket or whatever for the main show a bit later on in the afternoon. Matches on the card: Young Money take on Tabernacle Team. GQ Devin Quinn 1-on-1 with Jason Cade. Here's an interesting one: the grudge match between the Space Monkey and the now evil scientist Jim Nye. In case you want the backstory here, Owen, because it's an interesting one. After they lost the tag titles to Gregory and Shane Page and promising that he was done experimenting with the monkey, Jim snapped and beat the hell out of the shit of him before revealing a series of dastardly acts, which apparently people should have seen coming because Super Cop Dick Justice opened a case against Jim Nye. Nye revealed that his corporation, Nye Laboratories, had been torturing Space Monkey with experiments for months. The pills being used to control Ricky Shane Page were in fact constructed by himself, and that he put together the steroids that were used to keep former Alpha One wrestler Danny Orlando in tip-top shape, and that his greatest creation yet to be revealed, but promised to reveal it at this weekend show. So yeah, crazy shit.
Indeed.
Alessandro Del Bruno defends the Zero Gravity title against Donovan Dijak. There'll be a triple threat with Darby Allin, Caleb Conley, and Alex Daniels. In a sudden death 6-man tag, Joey King, Justin Sane, and Mikey Webb take on Shane Saber, Dick Justice, and Boom Boom himself, Colt Cabana. Ricky Shane Page and Gregory Iron defend the tag titles against the first Alpha One tag champs, the Super Smash Brothers. Kobe Durst defends the Alpha Male title against Ethan Page. And then the main event, the big one, Josh Alexander versus Scotty O'Shea. If Alexander loses, he must give up his position as general manager. If Scotty O'Shea loses, he needs to give up being an Alpha One forever. But that isn't all in Canada, because C4's back. After the show in September got cancelled for personal reasons and somebody bit key within the company passing away. They're back for basically the anniversary show this Saturday in the Vanier Columbus Club in MacArthur Avenue in Ottawa, Ontario. Do you think that anybody will dress up as the Mountie at that one? On that, we've got a 4-way tag match as Cuts and Guts, Fight or Flight, Michael Von Payton and Prince Raheem Ali and High and Mighty going face each other. We've got a triple threat with Cecil Nix, Freddie Mercurio, and Juan Francisco de Coronado. Ethan Page 1-on-1 with Facade. Two Cold Scorpio teams with Brent Banks to take on Heavy Metal Chaos. To crown a number one contender for the Underground Championship, we've got a 4-way with Evil Uno, Matt Angel, Dino Benjamin, and Kobe Durst. The Underground title will also be on the line itself as Viking defends against Ricky Shane Page. Tyson Dukes 1-on-1 with Jonathan Gresham. In a 3-way tag team match with the titles on the line, Stu Grayson and Thomas Dubois face Frankie the Mobster and the Space Monkey and the American Destroyers. And then the main event, Matthew St. Jack, the C4 champ, defends against Josh Alexander. And they've stressed 1-4 to a finish. That's a bit weird. AIW's Hell on Earth 12 this Black Friday in Cleveland, Ohio. On the card here, we got Josh Prohibition defending the Absolute title against Tim Donst. Ethan Page one-on-one with Brian Cage. A four-way with BJ Whitmer, Eddie Kingston, Eric Ryan, and Lewis Linden. Alex Daniels defends the Intense title against Laredo Kid. Crazy Payne defend the tag titles against the Jollyville Fuckets. Shayna Baszler defends the women's title in a rematch against Heidi Lovelace. Colt Cabana takes on Matt Cross. Dominic Guarini, the Bone Collector, faces Zack Sabre Jr. And this could be an interesting one. Carly Perez, a.k.a. Katrina from Lucha Underground, a.k.a. what was her name in bloody NXT?
Maxine,
yeah. Goes one-on-one with Space Monkey. AAW has this Saturday has its Windy City Classic. I think there's some select tickets still available, starting from $30 going up to $60 for front row. I'm not sure whether I think it's sold out. A whole load of names on the card that aren't yet in matches, like Colt Cabana, DJZ, Chuck Taylor, Congo Kong, the Hooligans, Bucky Collins, Marcus Crane, Connor Braxton, and Brian Cage. But the match is confirmed. Some interesting ones. The tag belts on the line with Matt Fitchett and David Vega, a.k.a. the besties in the world, take on Andrew Everett and Trevor Lee. An I Quit match between Jessica Havoc and Heidi Lovelace. Mercedes Martinez defends the Shimmer World title against Kimberly. Prince Ali goes one-on-one with ACH. Could be the first time you see ACH technically as a free man because of the Ring of Honor deal, although he's obviously having to honor that next week. Zack Sabre takes on Trent Beretta for the first time ever. In an interesting six-man, Pentagon Jr., Ray Horus, and Drago replacing the injured Phoenix take on Low-Key, Eddie Kingston, and Homicide. It's going to be fun. And the main event, Sami Callihan defending the AEW heavyweight title against Chris Hero. I've heard he ain't nothing to fuck with. Supposedly. And yeah, there is no news on anything that's going on in terms of additions to that Fight Club, the 8th person in that Fight Club Pro show while I've been looking.
all right.
Now the question is, in all that time, has Dave actually come up with news? I shall have to see. Oh, it's up, but the thing is it up so that I can read it? Is there anything else that I've missed?
I think we're done with news.
Let me see if there's any. Oh, that's still last week's news. What the shit? I guess we'll have to cover it next week because somebody hasn't put it up in a viewable fashion for us yet. So I guess we'll just have double the Meltzer possibly next week or something.
NXT.
Yeah, just a couple of matches that happened. Mainly this is from spoilers because I haven't been able to watch it because Owen sort of did in passing.
I watched it.
So what the first match was, I can't remember who it was.
Well, okay. It was Rich Swann against Kona Reeves. Kona Reeves is the former Noah Kakoa that was a member of the Wild Samoan Training School that Alpha runs in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So Swann's about to hit the 450, the standing, leaping, jumping in place, pogo jump 450. And here comes Sanity. So no contest, apparently. So Eric Young is getting a chance, and he hits a really sweet wheelbarrow reverse neck breaker. He says the world is in complete chaos. He got nothing trying to do things their way, and he's not going to ask for permission or approval anymore. They're just going to take. Well, we come back to commercial break. No Way Jose is checking on him, and then he basically challenges Eric Young. Alexander Wolf and Sawyer Fulton, they step up to the challenge. Jose wants Young instead. Young's like, nope. And Jose retracts and knocks the sanity off the ring apron. He fights with Eric Young. And the next thing you know, before a match really can go any further, Fulton and Wolf jump him. So they beat him up for a bit. It was announced later on in the night that they're going to face off next week. This was taped last night in Ottawa, actually. Recap of the Authors of Pain winning the Dusty Classic. They showed a little bit about Billy Kay and Peyton Royce. They're on a search for a tag team partner, and they find Daria. So, yay. Dasha interviews Billy and Peyton, and they basically they just cut a Mean Girls promo. Basically, all the geeks and nerds want to be their partner, but Peyton says the cool kids invite you over, and they invited Daria. They want to make the world prettier. Daria will rearrange the face of anyone who gets in their way. A recap on Rude and Dillinger. There is an interview with Ty. He's talking to a camera. This was right after the match at TakeOver. He says he's worked hard and put in the years to capitalize on moments like this, but he never can seem to finish the job. His family was at ringside, and he needed to win. He doesn't know what comes next. This was his moment, but he came up short. But he does talk about him getting a standing ovation. And if 10,000 people believe in him, maybe he won't come up short next time. Spoiler alert, he faces Samoa Joe next week. Showcase on match highlights from DIY winning the NXT tag titles over the Revival. Promo after the match, they said they weren't big, they weren't talented or good enough, but the titles proved those people wrong. Okay. Asuka and Mickey had a recap. Mickey is cutting a promo to the camera, basically getting interviewed. She says it was an incredible experience. She says she loves the roar of the crowd. Asuka is incredible, and she might have had her number tonight, but she does feel disrespected when Asuka wouldn't accept the handshake. They re-show Nakamura walking to his car, dejected after dropping the NXT Championship to Samoa Joe. He said he wants a rematch, so in Osaka, Japan in 2 weeks, Nakamura gets his rematch. I wonder what's going to happen. Main event was a 6-woman tag. It was Aaliyah, Ember Moon, and Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan sporting blonde curly hair, looking more like, I guess you would say, the Good Witch version of Alexa Bliss. Taking on Billy Kay, Daria, and Peyton Royce. Peyton and Billy have this, like, the glow mentality. Like, to have the old school, like, singlets and everything, like the one-piece bathing suit gear. They look a lot more like old school women's wrestlers. So that works. Daria's gimmick, of course, she's a bare knuckle fighter, so sure, whatever. Ember Moon is super over. Liv Morgan is very green, but she's improving. She's very over with the crowd. Aaliyah's in her hometown, so she wants to have a nice showcase. Match goes awry pretty much when Daria ends up getting tagged in when she doesn't want to, and she walks into the Bad Moon Rising, the diving ace crusher off the top, which looked really horrible because instead of dropping forward, she kind of fell to the side, and it looked really bad. So yeah, not a good match at all. Horrible way to end the show. So we had matches that were taped, like I said, in Ottawa, and they're going to air next week. I don't know why they did this, but I guess that they did. So we have No Way Jose versus Eric Young, and we also have the match that I was just mentioning. Samoa Joe versus Ty Dillinger.
Samoa Joe.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we have to look forward to.
Yeah. What about the other one?
Well, the other match would be Asuka taking on Nicole Matthews.
Yeah, the fucking dream match.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So yeah, you're going to be seeing those 3 matches on NXT next week from Ottawa, Ontario, and then the week after we're in Osaka, Japan, when Nakamura takes the title back and he gets ready to drop the title to Bobby Roode in 2017. That's just my pure speculation. That Roode wins the title WrestleMania weekend in Orlando. How appropriate.
Glorious.
Indeed. Not much to the show this week. Ring of Honor is going to be how we're going to end the show. Obviously, we're building towards Final Battle, which is going to be the next pay-per-view we're going to be covering here on the Podcast Network next Friday night.
Yeah. In a weekend that might feature TLC as well.
Potentially.
Pretty good opener here with Silas Young and Kyle O'Reilly, as you'd expect. Adam Cole did come out to try and cause a distraction, but it sort of didn't work because Silas went for Misery, his finisher. Kyle, though, managed to escape, hit a brainbuster, and got the 3 count.
Right.
Afterwards, Kevin interviewed Silas and asked about, how he came close against Cole and O'Reilly, and says, Silas basically goes, I don't know what you said because I was too busy looking at an adult man in 2016. Cheers and applause show you that they're all the same. You're a bunch of adults playing make-believe, a bunch of grown men playing dress-up. The worst thing is the guy he idolizes is nothing more than an everyday coward. Win, lose, or draw, I come out here and I do what I do. I face the music. And that's a lot more that can be said for Jushin Thunder Liger. He's a coward. He's 30-plus years in the business, and he's never shown his face because he's embarrassed. Come Final Battle, you'll find out why I am everything I say I am. And you'll find out that Justin Liger is nothing more than a child playing dress-up. It'll be an actor versus a real man, and he will show what a man of a bygone era is. Man, this guy can cut a promo. Still.
Well, yeah.
Then we get a little bit with Jay Lethal saying that people in Ring of Honor don't care where you come from or who you're related to. So, Cody, I want you at Final Battle. And everyone goes, ooh.
No lie.
So the Motor City Machine Guns are in the ring and said they wanted to reunite in Ring of Honor because, Ring of Honor is the future of pro wrestling. And Alex Shelley says that they choked at the chance. And, he mentioned how Adam Page turned on him and joined the Bullet Club, and that took a noose and put it around his neck in front of his family. And Alex says he's sick of getting his ass kicked by the Bullet Club and has had enough, and is looking for a group of individuals with unique abilities who can work with them as the Motor City Machine Guns. And they bring up Jay White and Leo Rush. And that if they can't keep up with the Bullet Club, they don't belong there. Then we get a promo from Daniels and Kaz talking about their match with the Briscoes, which is going to air next week. Well, which is sort of this week, before Final Battle. Then Colt Cabana says that how they have a match this week, and last week's match didn't go too well. Dalton says he doesn't feel comfortable without the boys being at ringside. So Colt says Dalton can choose some boys. So then some boys come out. And Cabana and Castle do win against Ken Dixon and Preston Quinn. But then afterwards, Dalton says that Colt looks like he's lost his smile. And how Colt mentioned that these people love us and now they're at the bottom and they're working their way to the top. And Colt says that, no, we need to start all over again. When I came back to this company, I wanted to be a champ. I felt that I needed to be a champ. But then I saw Dalton. I saw you, Dalton. I saw a lot of myself in you, and I wanted to join forces with you, become champion. Since we're doing it at the bottom, then do it as singles competitors, because he doesn't see it anymore, so he wants them to go separate ways. And Dalton basically grabs him and saying, like, what's the deal? And Cabana's offering his hand as if to go, we're done. Castle's like, come on, let's hug it out. And Cabana rows in and knees him right in the testicles. Beats the shit out of the boys. And then stabs Castle in the face with a fan. One of the boys' fans, and Dalton Castle's gushing. Well, not gushing, but he's certainly got a bloodied forehead and everything. So then we cut to the main event. Ultimo Guerrero, Hechicero, and Okimura taking on, I guess, the new kingdom of Matt Taven, Vinny Marsaglia, and TKO Ryan. Not too bad a 6-man tag semi-final match with the kingdom winning with a spike powerbomb. So they will be taking on ACH and whoever he's teaming with, because I can't remember, in a week or so. And that's how we finish up this week's Ring of Honor. Pretty solid show for an hour, to be quite honest.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're playing on along at home, the last thing we're going to talk about before we end is we're building the final battle. Final battle takes place December 2nd, 9 p.m. start time from the Hammerstein Ballroom, completely sold out in New York City. Main event, Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Adam Cole defending against Kyle O'Reilly. We're going to have Marty Scurll defend the Ring of Honor World Television Championship versus Will Ospreay, Bobby Fish, and Dragon Lee. We're going to see the Young Bucks put the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles up for grabs against the Briscoes. The 6-man tag team tournament final is Kushida, Jay White, and Lio Rush against the New Kingdom of TK Orion, Vinny Marsaglia, and Matt Taven. Colt Cabana versus Dalton Castle. Jushin Thunder Liger versus Silas Young. And yes, the match I'm very much looking forward to, Cody Rhodes versus Jay Lethal. Plus the return of the Motor City Machine Guns, Donovan Dijak, Prince Nana, and so much more. This is the night that Kyle O'Reilly finally wins the title.
Wow. I mean, it's probable, considering that there's going to be TV tapings a few days after that, which we'll talk about next week. We'll run over the card again, but
right.
It's worth mentioning considering it's going to be on pay-per-view, and by the time we do this next week, it'll be less than 48 hours.
Right.
Until the thing. But considering all the contract stuff, it might be the last time you see Jay Lethal on Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
It might be the last time you see Kyle O'Reilly.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Fish already has his way out. But with Kyle, you've always felt like he should have already had the belt, but hasn't.
Right.
Of course, it is very possible for him to win and then drop the title at the TV tapings.
That's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
I don't know against who. Part of me is wondering whether Cody is going to win.
That's a good possibility.
Ties into, I don't know, the possibility perhaps of Cole versus Rhodes at the anniversary show.
That's a good possibility.
We'll see. That's what I'm thinking off the top of my head. It might change once I've seen the Ring of Honor show from this coming weekend.
Or you could have Cole retain.
From what I remember, though, on the last one where they did all the tapings together in Baltimore, they did about 3 or 4 Women of Honor matches.
Right.
So I'm guessing they will be airing that week of Final Battle as filler. Or for the next couple of weeks. I know they did quite a few Women of Honor things. Plus, they get a lot of views. I don't know about on television, but it fills time, so we'll see.
That's another thing, too. Speaking of Women of Honor, the WrestleCade show, there is a match that is announced for, that would be the Women of Honor match. It's Deonna Purrazzo, Mandy Leon, Faye Jackson, and Solo Darling against Amber O'Neal, Kennedy Brink, Kelly Klein, and Taylor Hendricks.
Okay. That doesn't seem too bad.
Ryback versus Matt Hardy.
Oh.
Yeah, that's been announced too. So, yes.
So, if you expected me to sound more excited, no.
Well, I understand that.
I mean,
still.
excited for Matt Hardy. I'm excited for Matt.
Seeing if there's any other matches announced before we end here. Nope, does not appear so. Yes, I have another one. More. Eddie Edwards versus Crazy Steve. That's been announced as well for WrestleCade.
That shouldn't be too bad. They've had some good matches I think they face each other in Impact over the last few months of some shape or form, so that should be good.
Yes. And that's all I seem to find here. So I think that's our show tonight. Real quick, Ashley did get to talk a lot tonight. Hopefully I'll be able to watch some more stuff next week. That'd be nice. We'll see what happens.
Remember, you've got the Fight app for Ring of Honor.
Right.
WCPW will be up Saturday.
Right.
Although if you're a subscriber, you obviously get access to it early and in one full block rather than split up. Then again, in the form that it's in, split up could be better. Then, of course, I don't know what we're doing next week in terms of I'll probably watch the live one myself.
Mm.
Because I don't think there's any film or events things I have to see that day. I can fit stuff around it, so I'll certainly probably be watching it. That means we'll be doing 2 What Culture shows in one, I guess. Possibly 3 if this Reloaded thing actually becomes a thing. Who knows? And then obviously you can catch up with Impact and whatever, and the other ones via looking for the highlights on YouTube. Because that's how they always do it. Damn it.
Well, that's our show. Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
Find me on Twitter at AshesMyNameUK, as I mentioned before or earlier on tonight. Check out a whole load of other podcasts like this one at snsradionetwork.com. There'll be something there for at least anybody and everybody to enjoy, hopefully. Gaming with Ash should be on its way probably around Black Friday time as we look back and look forward to awards. The reason why I've sort of waited is because over the last couple of days, there was two Nintendo-based games that were up for Best Fan-Made Game. And from what I can tell, Nintendo have said no thanks. So all of a sudden, a very competitive four-way vote has all of a sudden become a two-horse race by default. It's a bit awkward. Especially when you take into account that one of the two games that still is in the running is for Nintendo hardware. So I don't know, but I'll run through that and give my picks along with appreciation for Hideo Kojima.
All right.
He's getting the Icon Award. Basically, because Konami fucked him over last year. They're making up for it. Which probably means more trailers for his weird game with Norman Reedus. But there you go. So I'll be talking more about that. And the golden joysticks. And I think they're the only real major award things this year. Because the BAFTAs, which is the only other one that I really pay attention to, isn't till like February. No, I think like March or April, so it's like really late. And the ones at the GDC Awards, I think, aren't till like January anyway. So they're the only the golden joysticks and the Game Awards are the only ones that are really happening this year.
All right. So you can follow me on Twitter at Soro and Disney. Follow the network at Popcast Network. Check out our merchandise at Zazzle. And check out our Facebook fan page at Popcast Network. Quick programming note. So Gaming with Ash will be up later today. Black Friday will bring about AJ's movie reviews of Moana, Allied, Bad Santa 2, and Rules Don't Apply. Saturday, we've got more coverage coming up, so stay tuned for that. Sunday, brand new verses. I believe your cryptic comment this week is Jazz. So yeah, stay tuned for that. The big thing, Friday night, the elite of the Popcast Network return one last time for Halloween Horror Nights 26 to talk all about anything and everything from opening night all the way to the end and all points in between with the new blood of the Popcast Network, the new elite, if you will. And that's going to be at 9 p.m.
That's the 47-hour show, isn't it?
No, it won't be a 47-hour show. Trying to get under 3 hours, but it's hard to talk about something that was 32 days long. Well, 31 for most, 32 for me.
Exactly.
So that being said, we'll introduce everyone to the network on Friday night, 9 p.m. So if you're a Horror Nights fan, check out our Halloween Horror Nights 26 podcast. A lot of new blood on the network. A lot of people you've never heard before, and some old favorites too. So a lot of people that were coming from the chat room to podcasters themselves. So it should be a great time. So if you have any questions, use the hashtag HHN Popcast. And as always, if you have any questions, we have a live chat here. We have a live chat. Jeremy Mills was in chat tonight, and Race's Fan Rocks. Welcome. He asked me about Lucha Underground. RC Blue was in chat for a minute. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening to us tonight. And as always, we'll talk more wrestling on Monday night for Raw, and then next Wednesday for the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast. So in the meantime, in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more tonight you have chosen a podcast. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone that celebrates, and otherwise, happy Thursday. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
Where's my fucking gold phone, Jeff? And no, I don't mean the iPhone 6.